Hello, everybody. How are you doing? My screen just went blank. That's not great for business. Uh, welcome, everybody, to another episode of Overruled with Katie Z. We are doing it again. We are breaking it up into a two, maybe three-parter. We'll see how it goes. But this case I've been talking about for a little while, and it's larger and more convoluted and intricate than I had originally expected it to be. So I've been working really hard for a couple of months now, and we have the first part hopefully ready for you. The reason why we're breaking it up is because I want to make sure we get all the details right. We're talking about Daniel Holtzclaw today. Has anybody in the chat heard of Daniel Holtzclaw? Do you know what I'm talking about by any chance? If you've heard of this case before, put a 1 in the chat. I am going to get my Rumble screen pulled up while you guys are answering the question. Then I'll come by and say hi to everybody. I got a lot of big shows coming up. This is probably the biggest in a while, the biggest case that I've covered. And it's very difficult to cover this in in a short, succinct way. So we're going to do it, like I said, in several parts. I hate doing 2 parts because when I'm watching true crime, I want an ending to the story. I don't want to be drawn along for 15 episodes or whatever. So I'm going to do it where I get all the facts for you, but also get all the facts for you, but also tell a good story and not have it drag on, right? So Jamie, I see you over there in the chat. Hello. Good to see you. Who else is here? Let me scroll to the top. Number 2 made it. Yay. Number 2 is here. I appreciate you, number 2. I know she's had a very busy day today, so I appreciate that. Christo, good to see you as well. And of course, as always, Erica is here. Erica's there in the chat too. Regulate. Number 2 in the chat says that my camera looks great today. It's because it's a new camera. So it should hopefully not be flashing. Hopefully my mic is not clipping. I'm working with all new technology today. So forgive me. Well, it wouldn't be a Katie Z stream if something goes wrong. So we'll see. Of course, Zena's here. There she is. Zena, put your head over here so the people can see you. There she is. If anybody decides they want to donate while we're live, we will give Zena, and Leia is here as well. Leia is not Ava. Leia is a different dog, but she's here, and they will both get a treat. So I would appreciate it if you did support me. It's not required. This is a free program, but I do appreciate it if you do. So let's jump right into it. But before we do, I wanted to let you know I'm having a show this week on Tuesday night, which is an unusual time for me, but I'm thinking it might become my usual time. We're still playing around with that. But Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock, I will be talking to North Georgia Audit, a gentleman named Shane Quiros, and he lives in the same general vicinity as me, and I've spoken to him before. You may remember my interview with him from about 7 months ago, where we talked about his time waiting for his trial in the Clayton County Jail. He's coming back on to talk about some recent stuff that has been happening with him, and I'm really looking forward to that show because as far as I know, he's being interviewed by Fox 5 Atlanta and me. I'm not sure if anybody else is interviewing him, so I'm sure Fox 5 Atlanta will do a 1.5-minute blurb on it, but we're going in depth, in detail. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to it as well. That's Tuesday at 8. Let's get into Holtzclaw. So I promised you guys I was going to cover some bad cops, right? When I started looking into this case, little bit about my mindset going into this case. I thought this guy was the worst cop I had ever seen in my life. I thought he was just a horrible human being. I couldn't believe how he was actually a police officer. We're going to get into bad cops on Tuesday as well, by the way. But I couldn't believe he was actually a police officer with everything that he was convicted of. Not even just accused of, just convicted of. So, or actually convicted of, not just accused of. And then I started reading the documents, guys. And you know what happens when Katie Zed starts reading the documents? I started my channel because of this. If you read the description of my channel, it says digging through the mainstream media's propaganda and unearthing the truth. And that's what happened in this case. And I wasn't even expecting this. I went into this not expecting that to happen at all. So we're going to get into it. But let's first, I'm going to play you a little news clip. Let's see if I got this set up right. Yep, I did. You guys can see my screen? Perfect. This is what we're going into right now. I need to unmute the desktop audio and click play.
A former police officer, the group OKC Artists for Justice, rallied outside the Oklahoma County Courthouse demanding justice as Daniel Holtzclaw, the man accused of sexually assaulting women while on duty, sat in court. Their chant so loud at times they could be heard inside the courtroom.
That's when a judge turned to the jurors with a message. Fox 25's Tom George was in the court and has his directions. Tom.
I'm standing here on the second floor outside the courtroom where Daniel Holtzclaw is on trial, and this morning as one of the women accusing him took the stand, the chants from protesters coming from outside were so loud we could hear them from all the way up here.
36 counts! We want life!
It was a simple message. Black women matter.
Our mothers!
Dozens lined up to support the 13 women accusing former Oklahoma City police officer Daniel Holtzclaw.
It is a blatant abuse of authority, and what it does is send fear through the community that doesn't have to be there.
A message taken right to the steps of the courthouse, some holding signs supporting the women, others showing some of the DNA and GPS evidence they believe proves Holtzclaw is guilty. Also joining the protests was City Councilman John Pettis, who says he's been following the trial closely and says he's happy the city acted quickly to both fire Holtzclaw and refuse to pay his legal fees.
We are working every single day to build that trust back up. And I think one of the things that to build that trust back up was to go after a bad cop.
It was a message the jury and Holtzclaw were forced to hear, the chants echoing all the way up to the second floor, so loud that the judge had to stop and remind the jury not to let it impact their decision. Meanwhile, inside the courtroom, a fifth accuser took the stand. She said Officer Holtzclaw stopped her as she was walking along the street and cuffed her while he ran her for warrants. She says he fondled her breast while taking off the cuffs. The defense brought up the fact that she's a convicted felon and is in fact in jail right now, and questioned whether her plea deals were lowered in order to testify, something she denies. It's why protesters say it was so important to be there for her.
He went after vulnerable women. He went after the women that he knew, even if they did speak up, people would go, we don't really believe you.
Now, court's just wrapping up for the day. The prosecution will bring in more witnesses again tomorrow, but this will be a short week as the jurors will have off Thursday and Friday. At the courthouse, Tom George, Fox 25 News.
New at 5, Cody
So that's where we're at. So keep in mind, this happened in 2014, and a lot of other things were happening in 2014 as well. This is when, this is the same time period where the hands up, don't shoot thing happened. This is when all of these protests were happening. They were burning down Ferguson, Missouri. I think that's outside of St. Louis, I believe. Or not St. Louis. I don't know. But it was the Ferguson thing. All of this stuff was happening. So we were going really hard after bad cops at that time in our country's history, right? So then this comes out where like 36 women accused this man of taking advantage of them. It wasn't always, although there is some like straight up like forcible rape. It was more like, hey, I'll get you out of your warrant, or I'll get you out of your tickets if you do this for me. Like, we don't want people like that on the police force. I think we can all agree on that. Like, I'm not an anti-cop person by any means, but I do want to go after bad cops when they're bad cops. So we're talking about 17 crime scene. 13 of these accusers ended up going to trial. 36 different crimes. So each one of these victims had different crimes. Now, who's Daniel Holtzclaw? Daniel Holtzclaw was born December 10th, 1986 in Guam, which, as you all know, is a United States territory. I assume you guys know that. You're smart. You're here, so you're obviously smart, right? He has two older sisters, older sisters, Julie and Jennifer. His mom is of Japanese descent, and his dad is American. His parents are Eric and Kumiko. His family describes him as a gentle and loving person. He was a standout football player in high school. Like, he was a big dude. He was like 6'3" or 6'4", and like built like jacked. He was jacked. He was a great football player. He actually had aspirations of going into the NFL. That's how good he was in high school. Everyone in his little small Oklahoma town knew who he was, because in that area of the country, let me know if you're from that area. Texas is the same way, but Oklahoma, Texas, like, high school football is like a big deal. People go to the high school football games, even if they don't have a child or a, somebody they know on the team. They just go to watch football. They love football. So after high school, he went to Eastern Michigan University. He got a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. And he followed in his father's footsteps and became an Oklahoma City police officer on September 16th, 2011. Now, there was, in between the time that he was finally arrested and the time he became a police officer, there was 9 allegations of excessive force on his part. But all 9 times it was found to be unsubstantiated. So here's one of those stories of the excessive force. So you can kind of see, anytime anyone is hurt by the police, whether they get tased or beaten with a baton or pepper spray, whatever it is, they end up saying like, oh, excessive force. Sometimes it's true, right? Probably a lot of times. Well, maybe not a lot of times, but it's sometimes true. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes, like, if you pull a knife on a cop, you might get shot. Like, sometimes people commit suicide by a cop, but then their family is saying that's, I don't know. But here's one of those times. So man dies after Oklahoma City police try to subdue him. So this is one of those times Daniel Holtzclaw was involved in. And his family tried to sue the department. Watch this little clip.
My brother was killed, as far as I'm concerned, in his front yard.
Those are the words of Bridgette Armstrong, a day after her brother died in police custody. The Oklahoman's Juliana Keeping spoke with family members and the police on Thursday, looking into how the death happened, including a demonstration of the restraint method that was used. Clifton Armstrong died in police custody after officers used a common restraint system called the hobble restraint. The 38-year-old Armstrong appeared to be suffering from a mental illness and believed his family members were trying to kill him. Police restrained him with the help of family in the yard of the home after he stripped off his clothes. Here's Police Captain Dexter Nelson.
Yesterday at approximately 9 p.m., Oklahoma City police officers and fire department responded to a house in the 1400 block of Northwest 99th Street. The call was received 2 different ways. It came in as a panic alarm to the fire department from the residential alarm at the house, and it came in as a 911 trouble unknown disturbance call to the police department. The calling party was determined by the first responding officers to be suffering a mental illness or a mental lapse. The individual was delusional, thinking that someone was trying to kill him in the house. With the help of the family, 2 officers were able to get this individual outside, at which time he stripped off his clothes and became combative and uncontrollable. With the family's help, officers got him on the ground and tried to restrain and calm him. This did not work. Additional officers arrived. They were able to get him in handcuffs. They were able to apply what we call a maximal restraint. which is to confine the legs and the arms so that the person can't kick and run. Shortly after that was accomplished, they were monitoring this individual that was determined that he was not breathing. IMSA was called to the scene. He was transported to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries and he passed. The medical examiner would determine what this individual died of. The person has a history of mental illness and there was some history of substance abuse. Don't know at this time if the person was under the influence of anything at the time of this incident. The case will be investigated by the Oklahoma City Police Department's homicide unit as is typical.
Could they have found somebody with more of a drab speaking voice than this guy? I'm not sure. So you guys kind of get the idea. This is a 7-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But that's...
We're treating this as an in-custody.
That is one of the 9 times that Daniel Holtzclaw was accused of using excessive force. Turns out the gentleman, Clifton Armstrong, ended up, they did the medical exam and he died of a methamphetamine overdose. So that's what happened there. But 9 different times, you got to start to like, what's going on with this guy, right? Why? I don't know how often police officers are accused of excessive force. I would assume a lot, especially in a place like Oklahoma City where it's a big city. I would think. I'm not sure. Why? What is going on? So I, just so you guys have a little behind the scenes, I have been using Restream to stream for the past year or so, and I had not used OBS in a long time. I've switched now to OBS because of some audio clipping that was happening when I used Restream or Streamlabs. I think that the equipment that I have is not compatible with those programs for some reason. That's where we're at. So OBS is not as intuitive as the other two, all right? Okay, so 9 allegations. So Holtzclaw was accused of sexually assaulting multiple African-American women over the period between December 2013 and December 2014. These are aside from the excessive force allegations that we just talked about. This is a new topic. Targeting those from a poor majority black portion of the city, which, by the way, is where his like priest, or that's where he was assigned. It's not like he went there specifically to seek these women out. Like, that was his area. Let's see. Sorry, I wanted to do just my picture up there, and I didn't set up a scene for that yet, so I had to do that. So he's just patrolling his normal area that happens to be mostly African-American and kind of a poor area of town. According to the police investigators, Holtzclaw ran background checks on these women, looking for like outstanding warrants, criminal records, other things. They say he was targeting victims this way. I'm going to put on in the background this surveillance footage. There is no sound on it, but this is the police stop that we're talking about first. You really can't see anything on it. This is this is taken from a security camera, like across the street, of a police stop that happened. This is the first, not the first crime that happened. I keep wanting to say alleged crime, but like, he was convicted of this stuff, guys. Just saying. So you can't really see much on it, but this is the very first thing. This is the very first person that went to the police themselves and said, hey, this guy stopped me and bad stuff happened. So the offense that led to Holtzclaw's arrest happened around 2 a.m. On June 18th, 2014, Holtzclaw had already completed his shift and he was driving home. Now, the police officers in Oklahoma City are allowed to take their patrol cars home with them, right? And they're not supposed to, if they're in their squad car, they're not supposed to turn off their computers. That's one of the protocols, or that's one of the rules of being an Oklahoma police person or a police officer, but he would do it all the time. He never got in trouble for it. He said it was just like a bad habit that he had. Like when he was done with work, he wanted to be done with work. Who hasn't been there? When I'm done with work, I want to teleport myself home. I don't want to stop anywhere. I want to go home. I want to relax. He was working till 2 a.m. So I assume he's kind of tired. He wants to get home, to hang out with his girlfriend, whatever it is he's doing. So he had completed his shift on the northeast side of Oklahoma City, and while driving to his residence in his assigned police vehicle during that time, Holtzclaw made a traffic stop without reporting it to dispatch, without running any records of the driver. And that's kind of suspicious, if you ask me. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. He says it was normal for him to do that and he had never gotten in trouble for it before, but he also knew that it was against the rules. So the driver was Janie Liggins. She was a 57-year-old woman who was passing through the impoverished area that police said Holtzclaw was targeting. They keep using this language like he was targeting this area, but this is just where he was assigned to work. Yeah. So he's in this impoverished area of Oklahoma City and he's targeting these women, but he was just driving home. And this woman says that he had accosted her. She was not poor. Like, unlike the other woman, she was not poor. She didn't have a police records. Liggins said that before forcing her to perform oral sex on him, Holtzclaw made her lift her shirt and pull down her pants. Now we're going to go through several other, or all of these allegations. And this is the same story that's given time and time again. So forcible oral sex, pull down your pants. She testified that she had begged him to stop and was afraid for her life. Liggins promptly filed a police report. So this happens, what we're looking at the screen, right? This police stop, 10-minute long police stop happens, and she immediately goes to the police to report it. Well, not immediately. She went home first. She was on her way to see her daughter. So she went and told her daughter what had happened, and her daughter said, "We need to go to the cops right now." And she did. When Holtzclaw reported the next morning to the Spring Lake Division station the following afternoon, his shift started at 4 p.m., so he worked from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. He was pulled aside by the department's sex crime unit detective Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory. Now, in the title of my show today, the title of this podcast, I believe it says something about bad cops. I want you to tell me, not now, later, who are the bad cops in this situation. More to be revealed in a little bit. Probably not till part 2, but we'll see. So we're talking about Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory. So he pulls him in there for questioning. After he's Mirandized, Holtzclaw underwent a 2-hour-long interrogation. I don't know why my alarm is going off. Sorry about that. Maybe I should turn my ringer off. If that's the worst thing that happens today while we're on air, won't be so bad. Won't be so bad at all. Who's texting me? All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. He sees her swerving. He's on his way home, done with work. Computer's off. He sees this car swerving. He pulls her over. He ends up questioning her, asking her if she's been drinking. That was the main thing. He just didn't want to see somebody who he thought may have been drinking and driving and just let them go. And then she ends up going down the road and killing somebody. That would be how do you live with yourself, right? So he ends up pulling her over. He doesn't think that she's been drinking. However, he does find hydrocodone pills on her, and he ends up searching her car and doing a little pat down on her. According to her, when this pat down started, he ended up fondling her chest. She was sitting in the back of the police car, and he stood next to the police car. He put his hands on top of the hood and made her, go down on him. So the next day shows up for work. He goes in for questioning. During this interrogation, it was an interview. It wasn't technically an interrogation yet, I guess. He admits, I'm the one that stopped her, because she didn't know what the cop's name was or anything. She just said, this is where I was stopped. So I'm the one that stopped her, and I thought she was drinking and driving, He ended up saying, I didn't do any of this. All I did was pat her down. I searched her car. That was it. And they're like, why did it take 10, almost 11 full minutes? At one point in this interrogation, the two detectives believed he was being untruthful because he said after he got home, he tried to have sex with his girlfriend and she wasn't interested. And then this woman cop ended up leaving the room and calling the girlfriend. And the girlfriend's like, no, nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Just like shut down, At the end of this interview, he was released after the interrogation, but his commission, his entry cards, his uniform shirt, his pants, his badges, his firearms, both his handgun and his shotgun, his radio, his keys, all of the police stuff they took. They're like, we're taking all of that. The uniform that he was wearing, he had not washed it from the day before, so he put on the same uniform. Do people do that? Like, do you wear the same clothes 2 days in a row, like work clothes? That seems weird to me. I guess jeans I'll wear more than 1 day in a row, but work clothes, not so much. And I don't even have like a job. I mean, sometimes my job gets a little sweaty because I have to be outside just because it's hot. I'm not doing physical labor or anything. But I would think being a cop, you would want to wash your pants or have more than one pair of, one uniform or whatever. That's just me. They collect his uniform. They do one of those buckle swabs where they take his DNA. And he says, I'd be happy to do a lie detector, anything like that. So he was placed on an indefinite paid administrative leave, which they always do at first, no matter what the allegation. It's a paid leave. After further investigation, eventually turned up a dozen additional complaints. Holtzclaw was arrested 2 months later on August 21st, 2014. And he was originally charged with 16, but then it grew to 36 counts of sexual abuse, including rape in the first and second degree, sexual battery, procuring lewd exhibition, stalking, and forcible oral sodomy. While reviewing the Liggins case, the two sex crime detectives, Rocky and Kim, they started going back through records to see if there was any other women who said, hey, a cop abused me. Why does this keep happening? I thought I turned that off. My apologies, y'all. Let's actually fix it this time instead of putting a Band-Aid on it. Discard. We'll just turn all of this off. Perfect. So they went back to see if anything, like any other crimes had been reported, and they found a couple. And Rocky was actually working on one of them, which is the second victim we're going to talk about in a minute. But he's like, this sounds awfully familiar. We should talk to that lady and see what happened. Because they took the report. They didn't know which cop it was. So they just kind of like didn't even do anything about it. Keep in mind, the women that we're talking about are African American. They're poor. A lot of them were either prostitutes or on drugs. They're hanging out in areas where there's drug deals going on. Like the way this area is described, it reminds me of the west side of Chicago that for no reason in particular I happen to be at a few times in my life, right? Anywho, let me put the chat on the screen for you guys. I'll put it over here. That's another thing now that I'm using OBS. I cannot pop out chats anymore, so my apologies for that. But I can put it on the screen while I'm talking for a little bit, right? Or not. And then I press the wrong button and stuff happens. Hold on, I can put it back up. Can I? Let's see if I can figure it out. I need background music too. It doesn't have background music with it. Like with OBS, I have to find my own background music, and every time I try to do that, it ends up, I get a copyright because people say it's copywritten free, but it's not. Where was I? Okay, so they end up, Rocky's like, hey, this other woman, I think that this might be a similar case. That's not the one I wanted. We're going to get to that one in a minute. I'm going to get it together, I promise. I think I need to put it here. Every time I press a button, stuff disappears. There's that one. There's that one. Is this Terry? Yeah, okay, so this is Terry. This is the one that cop was thinking, hey, I took this report and I think this might be, it might have something to do with it. So Terry Morris claimed to have been raped by a cop who had picked her up and driven her to a different location. She said the officer was a white man with dark skin and brown hair. She said the officer drove a black and white patrol car with a cage. Terry said the oral sex assault lasted 10 minutes. The initial investigation, 6 women were willing to come forward to testify, and the GPS device on Holtzclaw's patrol car put him at the scene of a lot of these alleged incidents. Police records show that he had called for a warrant check on all of them. Their investigation covered a 6-month period, beginning with the first woman who was willing to come forward, a woman whom Holtzclaw arrested for drug possession in December of 2013. And then he forced oral sodomy and while she was handcuffed to a hospital bed. Let's see if I get the right thing this time. Okay, so that's this report. This is the Terry Morris's report. And here's the thing with this one. She said it was a white guy, and I don't know if you guys have seen Holtzclaw, but I know one of these has to have a picture of him. This is not a white guy, so. Here's a little bit of her interrogation. She was very reluctant to come forward. She did not want to talk at first. Not at all. She didn't want to talk about it. Something happened to this woman. I'm sure something happened to this woman. I'm not sure what, but definitely something happened. So I'm going to play a little bit of this interview.
Where you been diagnosed?
Paranoid schizophrenic with depressive features.
Schizophrenic?
Post-traumatic disorder.
With what kind of features?
Depressive.
Kind of meds?
Imbalance, and I take 3, that's my mental health medicine. Then I take 3 different types of high blood pressure pills.
That's your mental health. Where you been diagnosed?
Paranoid schizophrenic with depressive features.
Schizophrenic?
Post-traumatic disorder.
With what kind of features?
Depressive. Post-traumatic post-traumatic disorder.
Like PTSD?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I am on the wrong timestamp. I wanted to play 4:54. 4, 2, 3.
I gotta find a date. I gotta put a date down.
For what?
Okay.
And talk to me. Okay.
So all of these interviews are very long. This one's about a half an hour. So I picked 2 spots that I want to play a couple minutes from. 4 minutes and 54 seconds, and then again at 21.
I can't have this guy running around Oklahoma City.
But somebody else can do it. I don't want to. I just want to leave it alone. I want to try to get these. I just want to get this out of my.
Okay. Well, I
just want to drop. I just want to be left alone.
I understand, and I'm not trying to harass you, okay?
I take a lot of medicine. I just want.
Well, I like I say, I'm not trying to harass
I
you.
know.
Okay, I really.
I know.
I'm just trying to look out for a lot of women out there.
I know.
And
I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I can't.
Okay. Is it even possible that I could show you some pictures?
No, I don't want to. Please. I just want to leave it alone. I just want to go. I just want to go about my life, please. Please.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but I can just tell by the way this woman is speaking that something definitely happened to her. And I understand that she's probably also on some sort of substance, right? She's also has mental issues. But just the tremor in her voice speaking to this police officer, I think that she's traumatized in some way for sure. I'm gonna fast forward to the other 21 is the other one. She ends up in this first interview not basically signing a piece of paper here at the end that says she doesn't want to pursue it at all.
I want to beg you. Anything.
And these officers, this is Rocky and the other one's Kim. You can see that just by watching these interviews that they are trying to pull information from these women, and when they're not getting the information that they want, I think you might be able to chalk it up to either inexperience with an investigation like this or just wanting to solve the case, but they end up leaking information that then is parroted back to them.
Okay. Terry, is there anything you'd like to tell me? Anything that I should know? I can't tell you. I want to beg you to give me information.
I know. I was to ask that person. Then I talked to my cousin. I just rather leave it alone, like he said.
You know I'm on your side. I am one of the good guys, okay?
I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize for anything, okay? Okay. Is it the mental issues? Is that affecting you, or?
Yeah, kind of. I go to counseling. I just rather leave it alone. And I just want to go and start over with my Amy.
Well,
I'll be gone for summer.
But you know, the thing is I still got to watch over women.
I know, I'm sorry. Don't put that on me, please don't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not
Which,
right.
by the way, he's absolutely correct. If you are a woman or anyone really, and you're a victim, you have to come forward, because people who actually do this sort of stuff to women don't stop with one woman. There will be other victims if you don't report it. So he's correct there. But as you can see, she's very reluctant.
Do me like that?
I'm not trying to be mean, but you understand why.
That's not right to do that to me.
Well, I'm not trying to be mean, but you know I got a job to do, okay? I'm gonna give you my number, okay? You can call me. And even if you lose this, you know that the sex crimes Oklahoma City. I don't care if you gotta call 911.
Okay.
Don't get them switched over.
Okay. talk to one.
About your uncle.
I wanted to say, please go to katiez.com while I have you all here and go to the Christ is King or the King collection, because 100% of the proceeds from this collection, which is a collaboration, by the way, between Steven from the Call Me Ignorant channel, as well as Frank from the Let's Be Frank YouTube channel. We collaborated on these designs, and we're donating 100% of the profits to onemorechild.org, which is a great charity that helps children in need, and they also help out trafficked children and any sort of vulnerable children, struggling families, all of that. So 100% of those profits will go to onemorechild.org. So I would appreciate it if you did that. It is not everything on the KTZ website, but it is this collection here, the King collection. And there's some pretty cool stuff. This Christ is King coffee mug. It's got a Bible verse on the back. All of the t-shirts do as well. Personally, I like this design. I bought one of these myself, and it says, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. That's Philippians 2, 10 and 11. And I think it's a great charity. And of course, you can also get your Crime Land stuff. You can get your How to Get Away. There's no way to segue into this. Not my How to Get Away with Crime notebook. You can get that for $14.88 over there. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have sweatshirts, all of the things. So that's katiez.com. Okay, that's the ad. What I really want to get to is the drawing, because it's the first show of April, and we need a winner chicken dinner. So let's go here. Here they are. So it's April. Let me put the chat. I need to see the chat. I need to see what you guys are saying. Everyone who donated last month, which look at how few there are, by the way. This is pretty sad. Zena's hungry. Anyway, so if you did donate last month, you have a very good chance, because there's nothing in here. So we're gonna pick one of these out, and I'm pretty sure. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure by how little you guys supported last month, we're only gonna do one this month, but I'm pretty sure all of that is going back into buying Erica, who just won. Can you guys see that? Erica won. Erica, congratulations. You are the winner. And I will get with you offline so you can pick your prize. Yay. All right, we're throwing the rest of you guys away, and we're going to start over. So if you donate today, it starts the new month, and we'll go from there. Okay, I think that's all the ads. Did I cover everything, number 2? Is that everything? I think that's everything. So let's get back to it. There we go. Get rid of that. Done with that. Okie dokie. So, Daniel Holtzclaw. Bad guy so far, right? I think so. Horrible. Horrible, horrible. He is accused of heinous crimes. Not good at all. We're going to watch some of this police interrogation. A lot of the show today is going to be made up of this police interrogation. We're going to go through some of the other allegations, and then we'll wrap it up. So we're not playing the whole thing is like 2 hours long. But this is just the beginning of the interrogation.
You had said, and we told you that there was a traffic stop.
So here's where we're at. He gets to work the next day, 2 or 4 in the afternoon. He works the 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift, and he immediately gets called into this office.
And I had a back few. Why? Tell me why you're embarrassed.
The station deal, so.
Nobody. Well, I mean, there's rumors flying. I know. And we tried to do that as kind of quietly as we could. And that's why we took you up the front and stuff. But this is going to make the rumors go away.
Okay.
Okay? For you.
Right.
The rumor tomorrow is going to be on somebody else.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So let's get them off of you and get them onto somebody else and get this over with.
Okay.
Okay? All right. You have the right to remain silent. You understand that? Okay. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that? You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. You understand that? If you cannot afford...
The issue is I don't have a physical button. I have to click on the screen and I forget. I was just saying I'm bumping it up to play faster, but if it bothers you guys, let me know in the chat and I'll put it back to normal. I always listen to all of these sort of like long form, a lot of times police interrogations, but I listen to them at like 2 times speed. Well, 175. And my brain is used to listening to stuff. Like when I listen to audiobooks, I do the same thing. So if it bothers you guys, just let me know.
Or to hire an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish one. If you decide to make a statement, you may stop the interview at any time. Do you understand each of these rights I've explained to you?
I do.
You just write yes or I do or whatever. Right. Oh, you're lefty too. Okay, hold on. You shoot right-handed, but you're right left-handed?
Yeah, I'm ambidextrous.
Me too. I shoot right-handed and right left-handed. That's which do you...
Bat right-handed, throw left-handed.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I throw right-handed, but I bat left-handed.
Kick left-footed.
No, I kick right-footed.
Nobody cares, Kim. Nobody cares. this lady just rubs me the wrong way.
How do you eat?
Both hands.
Oh, left for me. Okay. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to me at this time without an attorney?
Yes.
Okay, right, yes, right there. Read this out loud.
I've read the statement of my rights and understand what my rights are. I'm willing to make a statement and answer questions at this time. I do not want an attorney present at this time. Understand and know that what I'm doing, no promises or threats may have been made to me, and no pressure or force of any kind has been used against me.
Agree?
Agree.
Sign, print. That's too funny. I haven't met anybody else that writes left-handed. It kind of creates a problem when you're on a traffic stop, doesn't it? Because you're writing and holding your ticket book in this hand and your gun hand doesn't bother you? No, that's because you're huge. What's your commission number?
1782.
I want you guys to pay attention to the size of this man, by the way, because when we get into the descriptions later, you will be flabbergasted at some of the descriptions that these victims. I keep wanting to say, like, I do so many where I have to say like alleged or alleged victims or accused. Like he's found guilty. He's guilty, right? He's sitting in prison right now. So his victims described him not as a 6 foot something like jacked police officer.
I masturbate right and left.
Why are we talking about this?
I think I do that left-handed.
Very good.
Well, I am dominant.
You are?
Yes. Okay, look, just like we talked in the car. You haven't heard any rumors?
I haven't heard any rumors.
So
when I walked in the station, I see Captain lean over, not unusual. Captain Clifton, hey, but then I've seen you in the cabin, I've never seen you, and so.
Well, nobody.
But I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at things.
You had said, and we told you that there was a traffic stop.
Right.
That somebody made some allegations against an officer.
Right.
They don't know the officer's name, none of that. And you said that you made a traffic stop after work, but you didn't call it in.
I didn't call it.
Where was that?
It was about Northeast 50.
We're going to get to the DNA screwed up rebellion. I see your comment there. We're going to get to that. But yeah, there was DNA in this case. That is a true story.
50th and Lincoln just to the west.
Okay. Tell me about that stop.
I was going westbound on Northeast 50th, probably a block just east of Lincoln. I see a red Grand Prix, or Grand Am, in my right lane, and the outside lane, I'm in the inside lane. The car swerves, and so at the time I'm thinking, okay, it's probably a drunk person, or maybe got excited because they saw a cop. So I kind of fall behind it, kind of drifting just a little bit, not crossing lane lines, nothing crazy. So I lighted up because at first the traffic violation I saw at first when it swerved. That was just west of Northeast 50th in Lincoln. And then made contact. It was a black female. Asked for license insurance. Stated that she didn't have insurance, gave me an ID. At the time I'm like, do you have a valid insurance or a valid license? She said no. I told her, I just got off work. I mean, what's the deal? You know, why are you swerving? And she says, I'm just trying to go home to Ann Arbor-ish on a.
Another thing I forgot to mention when I was going over this first Janie Liggins police stop is that her driver's license had been suspended for 30 years. That's 30 years. So she had the hydrocodone in the car. He thought, she was swerving, so he thought that she had been drinking, which he concluded that even if she had been, she wasn't like wasted drunk. She wasn't a danger to anybody, so he ended up letting her go. But because he didn't run her in the computer that he had already turned off, right? He didn't realize until afterwards that her driver's license had been suspended for 30 years. 30. She said she had no idea that her driver's license was suspended for 30 years, but don't you go and renew your license every now and again? Like, wouldn't you realize that it was suspended eventually? Also, when they talked to her, she had a boyfriend or fiance that was the same man for like 15 years or something like that, a long time. And he said that she did know, and he would do most of the driving, but that night he was very tired and he thought it was unsafe for him to drive, so he let her take the car. I admit I've done the same thing. Before I got my driver's license, I drove for many years in Chicago with no driver's license, so I don't fault her for that at all, but I forgot to add that in before.
On the northwest side to see her daughter or something like that. So I asked, is there anything on board as far as the vehicle? Is it okay if I search your vehicle and whatnot? She said, the only thing that's inside there is a Kool-Aid cup. I'm like, is there anything inside of that Kool-Aid? Is there liquor or anything inside the Kool-Aid? She's no. So I'm like, okay, is there anything else inside there? She says, there's pills. I'm like, is that the only thing? And then, so I said, can I have permission to search your car? She says, yes. I go inside the car, I see a lot of pills. But,
what kind of pills?
I didn't really.
Like scattered pills or in a bottle?
She said it's hydrocodone pills, but I just quickly looked at it. I think I saw her name on the prescription bottle, so
oh, so it was a bottle.
Right.
Okay.
There were several bottles in her purse. And then so at that time, I just returned back to her. It's like, okay, I saw your pills. I didn't see any alcohol. I sniffed the drink, didn't smell any alcohol in the Kool-Aid. I'm like, okay, I'm just off work. I'm tired. Get your license taken care of. Just mine.
So she didn't have a driver's license?
She didn't have a driver's license, and I was just like, go to DPS, Department of Public Safety on King, get that taken care of, and cut her loose after that.
Okay. Then where'd you go?
I went straight home.
Okay. Do you remember her name? It was on the description.
I don't.
Okay. Do you make traffic stops normally after work?
I don't, but in that case, I saw her swerve and whatnot, so
I don't.
Felt.
After I get off work?
I know. I mean, people can't say that it's have a, whatnot, to have the vision, whatever, but I felt like I needed to make that traffic stop.
Okay. How was she? Was she respectful? Was she
felt like she was nervous and whatnot, and I'm like, why are you nervous? And she was even crying. I'm like, why are you crying? Why are you nervous? Whatnot? And she's just like, I don't know. I'm just nervous because you're a cop and I got pulled over. Like, nothing you had to be nervous about. And I told her, I'm like, I don't really want to take you to jail for no SDL or anything. I just got off work. I'm tired. So with my officer, courtesy or whatnot, and so go get that taken care of tomorrow. Later on our way.
And you don't have to. I'm not going to sit here and go, "Why didn't you hear less?" No, I don't care. Was she drunk? Did you think she was drunk?
I think she was. She drank, but I don't think she. With my experience, I don't think she was past the legal limit.
Right.
So
I mean.
And that's what I asked her too. Is like, with your pain medicines, the hydrocodone, everyone knows that you drink with that, it maximizes the effect. So I asked her that. She said no. But when she was in the back of my car, when I was in the front car, and the driver's seat, I could smell it off of her, but I don't think she was still past the legal limit.
Okay. So you got her out of the car?
Yes.
Okay. And put her in the back of your car?
Yes.
Okay. Any problems there?
No, she was cooperative. Didn't give me any problems or whatnot.
Okay. And then you searched, did you?
I'm going to remember to click the buttons. I promise. It's the new, I'm using a new system and it's confusing and I'm blonde and kind of dumb. So, Screwed Up Rebellion was saying in the chat that he should have gotten a lawyer immediately. And I absolutely agree. You should never, ever speak to the police without having a lawyer present. It is your right to have a lawyer. I mean, if you can't afford one will be appointed to you by the court of law. But definitely get a lawyer every time. Also, this guy's a police officer, so you would think he would have a union rep or something with him as well. But he doesn't have any of that.
Did you run her through Unit 800?
I didn't.
You didn't. So, did you run her on your MDT?
No, I didn't. All my stuff as far as that, because I didn't call it in and say it was a traffic stop. My computer was off and everything as well.
Did you shut it off?
I just shut it off. Yeah, on the way on 50th, I turned it off right before the traffic stop, basically.
Okay. And where did you pick her up? 50th and what about?
50th and Lincoln, just to the west.
But no, where'd you see her swerve, kind of?
I said a block just to the east of Lincoln and 50th.
Okay. She pull over right away?
She was in the right lane and the outside lane when I saw her swerve. And so she saw a police car right there, and so she kind of did what everyone does, slow down, kind of, okay, he's going to pull me over or not. And then I lit her up about 50th and Lincoln, past the intersection to the west.
Okay. When you put her in your car, did you pat search her?
When I came here, I was like, lift up your shirt. Is there anything on you? Anything as far as your waistband or anything like that? She said no. And then I put her in the vehicle and went from there.
Did your hands go on her at all?
I backhanded her on as far as the side.
Where on her body? Tell me. You backhanded?
Her waist, and the back portion. I didn't touch her butt or anything, but the back portion of the waist. And
so when he's saying backhanded, he means that he patted her down like with this part of his hand instead of this part of his hand. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew what he was talking about. He didn't like backhand her like, you know, like I do to Mr. Zett. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that to Mr. Zett. That's silly.
Then she lifted it up like right here, and there's nothing.
Did she lift it up like this?
No.
Okay. So she never like went, ooh, nothing, exposed her breasts or anything like that?
She asked me if I was like, no, it's okay.
She asked you?
If you want to search me, I'm like, no, it's okay.
So she never like put her hands on the car and you?
No.
Okay. Where was she positioned or standing when you did the back of your hand on her?
It was about probably the front right fender of my patrol vehicle.
But was she facing you or was she turned?
No, she was facing away from me.
And you just kind of did it like this?
Yeah, back there, yes.
Okay. Did your hand go on her butt or anything?
No, that's what I was saying. It was the hip, the side, not the butt section.
What about right here?
No.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
They can tuck a gun
That's
right here.
why I asked to lift it up.
Oh, so she just kind of showed you her belly?
Right.
Okay. Then you talked to her for a little bit.
Right.
After you searched her, you put her in the back of the car.
Right.
Then we used to always kind of keep the door open and talk when they're not like combative or anything. Did you talk to her and get information then while she was in the back of your car?
Right. I talked to her for a little bit just as far as what's inside the vehicle. Can I have consent to search your vehicle? Is there anything in the Kool-Aid? She said no. Just talking to her. What's the deal? Why are you driving late at 2 o'clock at night? You know, why did you swerve? So she's going to Ann Arbor on the northwest side to visit her daughter, I believe. So.
Then you went up and searched her car?
After she gave me consent to search her car.
How long, you think?
I did a quick search, to be honest with you. I looked under the seat, boom, sniffed the juice, whatever she's had, and I didn't smell alcohol in it. Went through her purse, like she said, there's pills in it, looked at it real quick to see if their name was there, and that was basically it.
Okay. Then when you went back to her, what happened?
And when I went back to her, I was like, okay, I didn't smell any alcohol on your car and your juice thing. And I'm like, what's the deal? Are you really drunk or not? And she's like, no, I'm just trying to go back home. And at that time, I was like, okay, but I'll go ahead and follow you. I said, I'm not going to take you to jail. I'm tired. I'm not going to take you to jail. I'll go and follow you. And let's go back to 44 and you head westbound on 44. So that's what we did.
Did you follow?
What's wrong with drinking Kool-Aid, number 2? I don't see a problem with that. I actually, until recently, like within the past 5 years, I would drink instead, like I drink water like this is always filled with water now, but I would drink the Kool-Aid lemonade all the time. I can't even tell you how many calories I would consume by drinking it every day. It was ridiculous.
Actually, when I went behind her and we got in the car, she took forever and I started getting annoyed. So I just U-turned it and I went ahead and I saw her in the back view of my rearview mirror. And she was following at 44, but then I took off going northbound on Broadway Extension while she took 44 to go west.
So you were able to see her do that?
Yes.
And go. And then did you lose her when you got on Broadway?
When I went to northbound on Broadway and she went 44 west.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like this is the lady, this is the deal where she's the complaining party. Okay. And she's making some sexual allegations, obviously, because sex crimes is working it.
Right. What did she say?
Well, was there anything, an accidental touch, anything?
If she thought it when I passed her, but it was nothing as far as I felt like I would do anything as far as sexual or anything like that. And for my safety, I just checked to see if the weapons or anything. And to make clear, I didn't touch her butt, but the waist side and whatnot. If you would like me to do it for you to show you.
No, and I'm fine with it, and you have every right to do that. Right. She's saying that you made her lift up her shirt, and when she lifted up her shirt, she exposed her breasts.
No.
Did you ever see
I asked her, is there anything inside your bra? And she said no. So I was like, okay. And she said, you want me to show you? And that's the time I said, no, you don't need to do that.
She said she said she was doing this. When you said, is there anything inside your bra? And she was, well, no, I don't have anything like that. Did she do that? Yeah, she did, but I didn't look or anything like that. Right. And then she was like, do you want me to show you? I was like, no. She said when she said, do you want me to show you? You said, yeah, and she went, woo. No, I didn't. But could she have been, woo, flashing you? And now you don't want to tell me because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble? No, when I told her no, I said no. Then she didn't go, yeah, because sometimes drunk girls are
having a good time.
Yeah, and partying down. And let's face it,
I've already heard stories about officers and whatnot.
They want officers for hubbies or whatever.
I said no.
But you could have said no. But I'm asking you if she flashed you anyways.
I didn't see her. I didn't see her breasts. I didn't see her breasts.
Okay. What about pants?
Nothing in her pants as far as I can see. She was wearing tight jeans. So.
She said she pulled them down.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see her pulling down?
I didn't see her pulling down pants.
You'd think that's something you would notice if a person you were stopping pulled down their pants. I would think you'd see that. That's just my opinion.
Could she have done it when you were up searching the car?
She could have.
Did she have them on?
I didn't have her handcuffed or anything.
When you came back to the car and got her out, were her pants fastened? Were they?
Yeah, everything.
They were up and
everything was still intact.
So you never saw her pull her pants down?
No, I didn't.
Why do you think she's making this up?
I don't know.
Did you write her a ticket?
I didn't. I let her go. And I said I want to arrest you for your no STL.
Trying to figure out why she'd say that. I mean, I could see her saying it if you wrote her a ticket because she's pissed off.
Right.
Now, make it quite clear, if you saw her boobs, I don't care if she's flashing you.
I did not see her.
You did not see her boobies?
No, I did not see her breasts.
So she's saying you shined your light on her?
I did not see her breasts.
Where do you keep your flashlight?
On the left side right here, right down my radio.
Did you have your flashlight out on the traffic stop?
I did.
When she was going like this, did you have your flashlight on her?
Like that. But as I'm out of the radio like this, I have it like positioned over us, but I didn't.
Right, but did you have it on her when you're talking to her so you can see her? I mean, was it on her when she goes like this? Maybe she could have construed it.
To see her inside the vehicle.
Was the dome light on?
The dome light was not on.
It didn't come on? I don't know how. Does that come on when you open your back door? It's been too long since I've been in a
kind of agree,
Erbil,
the way, I mean, I think this is what you're trying, but the way he's answering these questions seems odd to me. He's not like, did she flash you? The answer is no, not I didn't see that. Like, it does seem a little suspicious, right?
I don't think it does. As far as the dome light.
I'm just trying to figure out. How long do you think you were on that traffic stop?
I don't think it was an
And it's not
excessive
best.
over a regular speed. 15 minutes at most, just like a regular traffic stop. Nothing as far as more.
15 minutes. How
was
long
actually
were you with
10.
her? How long of that 15 minutes do you think was searching her car? Where maybe she's sitting in the back seat.
Like I said, I did a quick search, probably at max, maybe a little bit over 5 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes if.
So you're with her for 10 minutes.
Talking to her, yes.
Did it take a while to get her to consent to search, or what? 10 minutes is a long time.
She was nervous and she was crying and stuff, and I told her not to be
Did she
nervous.
say why she was crying?
She said it's a police officer and whatnot, and I'm just nervous because I got stopped by a police officer. So I'm like, calm down, everything's fine.
I don't think his.
And then so I think maybe with the fact that she had.
I don't think his eyes are closed. I think that it's a potato that they're filming this on, and also he is Japanese, so it's hard to see. But yeah, it does. I didn't realize that when I watched this the first 5 times I watched it. But now that I'm looking at it, now that you mentioned that, it does look like he's just sitting there like this talking, but he's not.
And no SDL, maybe she was nervous as well too. And then so I went to the search, and it wasn't that. It was a quick search, like I said before. It wasn't in detail, pulling up carpet. It was a quick search.
Because you're just ready to go home.
I was ready to go home.
Did you go home, go straight to bed?
I went home straight to bed.
Okay. Think of anything yet?
Oh, I think that was pretty good. Wasn't that pretty easy? Hey, we got to do this.
Okay.
If you don't mind. I got to take your buckles.
Okay.
We're doing that in the.
That's fine.
All right.
Did we buckle swap anybody in the academy?
I don't.
As a demonstration?
I'll let your name next. I don't even know how to spell it.
How do you say your name?
Daniel Holtzclaw.
Holtzclaw. What is that?
It's German.
Can you speak German?
No, I can't.
Hey, read that out loud to me.
Yeah.
I, Daniel Holtzclaw, after having been advised of my right not to have a search made of my body, hereinafter mentioned without a search warrant, and my right to refuse to consent to such a search, hereby authorize Rocky Gregory, detective of the Oklahoma City Police Department, to conduct a complete search of my body located at 701 Colcord, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Officers are authorized by me to take from my body samples of swabs from my body which they may desire. This written permission is being given by me to the above named police official voluntarily and without threats of promises of any kind.
Basically, you're giving buccal swabs of your own free will.
Okay.
We do this as part of it.
That's too fast.
See, this ain't so bad, huh?
No, I never had this done, so.
Stay up. There we go. And you get a free teeth cleaning with your first time.
You won't go none, though.
All right, and then we're going to have one more round.
I turned off my phone.
We'll have a couple more questions.
Yeah, his dad is German, his mom is Japanese.
All right. This side.
Ralph, what time is it on your watch? I turned my phone off. So.
I've got 4:47. That's what I've got. So do you usually do traffic stops on going home, or what was?
I don't. Like I said before, I really rarely don't. I usually try to get home because I'm tired of them and shit.
Well, are you a big DUI worker?
When I first started coming out, I did. But not really at the end now, to be honest with you.
I usually, if I see somebody swarming, whoop, the other way.
And that's a lot.
Like, listen to what she just
well,
said.
Daniel, this is kind of...
This police officer, now she's a detective now, but this police officer just said if she sees somebody swerving or she thinks there's a DUI, she goes the other way and ignores it. What are you doing, lady? Why would you... why would you do that? And 2, why would you admit to it? Like, what? Like, if somebody, like, let's just say Detective Kim Davies sees somebody swerving and she goes whoop the other way, and that person crashes head on to a family of 4, and they all die. Like, what are you doing? It's just ridiculous.
Kind of one of the things that we kind of bring it in here to see how truthful you are.
Right.
Now you need to kind of think of a few different things here. Okay. We pulled up a lot of video around that area after these allegations. Okay. She also had a SANE exam, which you know what that consists of.
Right.
There's a reason why we wanted your buckles.
The SANE exam is like the hospital exam they do after somebody is sexually assaulted to check for DNA in areas where the other person has offended them. at. In this case, it was an oral assault. And so that's where they did the swabs and stuff. She didn't have to do a vaginal exam because that was not the allegation in this case. In a second, you'll hear the other cases.
Okay. Now, and we can go through a couple different things of why we've got you in here, but you sure there's nothing you want to?
Nothing.
So if we go off the video and watch that,
right,
you're still going to stick
We
with your
saw
story.
that video, by the way.
If we go off DNA?
Like, they're using this video, if we go off the video, but they've seen the video that we watched earlier already. You can't see anything in the video. You really can't. I think we played it through like 1.5 times. You can't see anything. It's at night. It's 2 a.m., right? It's from a business like across the street, filming that. Maybe it was the same side, whatever it was, but it was far away video, and all you could see is the lights. You couldn't see any people in that video at all.
Right, as well.
But they're telling him this, like, as far as Daniel Holtzclaw knows right now, there's video of everything that happened at that traffic stop, and he's saying, no, you're not going to see anything because nothing happened.
Should we show you the video?
Yes.
You do want to see it?
Yes.
So there's nothing that...
Everything that I recall of that night is what was asked and everything.
Like,
that's what happened.
I'll show you, like, we'll come back to this, but is this the one? Yeah, this is the extent of the video. This is all you can see in the video. It's 10 minutes of exactly this, by the way. So even if I make it big, like, can you guys tell what's going on? You can't see. They even have this little spot here where they've zoomed in. You can't see anything that's happening in this video. But remember, he does not know that. The cops, Kim and Rocky do know that. They've seen this video, right? Daniel does not know how clear this is. He knows that there are cameras in the area. He knows there is a video. He has no idea what the video shows. And he's like, yeah, show me the video. Definitely show me the video.
Have I maybe not asked enough questions?
I think everything covered as far as that.
Do you recall putting your penis in her mouth?
I don't.
Would you recall that if you did it?
Like,
if I did, yeah.
Why is he answering like this? It's so weird, Daniel. What are you doing? Like, do you recall putting your penis in her mouth? No, because it didn't happen. I don't remember that happening. Like, what are you doing? He's sinking his own ship right now. It's driving me crazy.
Okay. Well, I think you really, in all honesty, you need to really double think about this. I mean, I got to be honest with you. It doesn't look really good. Okay. I mean, and what you originally thought, detectives just don't roll up in there for no reason.
Right.
Okay. And we just didn't pick you out. Okay.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole lineup there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's definitely enough here to bring you in here to start questioning you.
Right.
Okay. We knew you were on that stop.
Right.
We knew you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And we can watch a whole lot of actions being performed while you were there.
Lies.
Okay. And that's why she was trying to give you every out on the whole booby thing.
Right.
Okay. Now, is there any reason at all, even from whatever angle, because, it takes a little bit to clear up those videos.
Right.
But any reason why your penis would be out?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Now, in doing this, you know how SANE exams work, and I ain't got to explain about DNA or anything like that.
Right.
Now, I didn't say you had sex with her.
Right.
Okay. But getting a blowjob, okay, that is a different story.
Right.
Okay. You see my concern here.
I'm just listening to you, sir.
I know, but I'd rather listen to you, and you start talking.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Are we going to get something from the SANE exam?
Go with the SANE exam.
Do you understand that you don't have to full-blown ejaculate to get something out of the SANE exam?
Right.
We can get skin cells, we can get pre-ejaculate, we can do all that and still get DNA.
Right.
And did your penis go in her mouth?
No, it did not.
Okay. Because DNA will clear it up.
That's the way to
here's
answer.
the deal too.
He did that correctly that time. No, it did not. That's the answer. Not, I don't remember my penis going. Like, what? Seriously, Daniel.
We can fall on the sword.
Yeah.
And say I screwed up or something. But if we say we didn't do it, and then the DNA comes back and says he did it, then we have a huge problem.
Right.
We're here to give you the chance to fall on the sword, so we don't want a huge problem. We don't want a huge problem for you.
Right.
Is there any reason your penis would be out while on a traffic stop? Is there any reason your penis would be out? No, there's absolutely no reason for a cop's penis to be out on a traffic stop, on a DUI stop, maybe like she wasn't a DUI, but on a traffic stop at all. Honestly, like if I were to get pulled over for speeding, and the cop walked up to the side of my car and his penis was out, I'd have questions. You know, I'd be worried. I'd be a little worried.
This is time. It's time. If it touched her mouth, if it touched the inside of her mouth for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, you got to tell us now.
Look, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in between a rape being forced and some old girl who wants it.
Right.
Okay, we've had plenty of that.
We get that. We know that.
Okay, but there is a big difference. Okay.
Right.
But I'm just saying, these videos ain't helping, and we're gonna do the comparing and all that.
Okay.
Okay. But it's not looking good so far.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't want to see anybody go down for something that there was no force.
Right.
Now, I'm not seeing any beating or anything like that.
Right.
Okay. I'm not seeing that big time, big guy forcer type thing like what we do see.
Right.
But
if it was a get out of jail free card, that happens.
Right.
And we know that happens.
Right.
But we got to know that. We got to know that versus, he made me, I didn't want to, blah, blah, blah. If it's a get out of jail free card, then that's a different story.
And we've worked enough of them, cases that it didn't happen.
So I want you to pay attention to this part right here. Kim Davies is saying, like, if you were exchanging, like, I won't give you a ticket if you go down on me. This is in her head. Nobody else has said this. Janie didn't say this. At this point in time, nobody else brought this up. When we go through the allegations later, I want you to pay attention to how many women say that is what happened. And there's only one place that they got that from. Either A, it's true, and that's what he did, or B, these two officers are putting that into the victims' heads. That came out of nowhere, except Kim's brain.
This is where we're at right now. Okay, and that's why we wanted to hear your version of the story.
Right.
Whether we just go off of what we see and whatever this tests out as.
Right.
Okay, but
so I'm sticking with my story.
Okay. On the video, are we going to see her boobies?
Shouldn't see your boobs. I didn't see your boobs.
Why would you say you shouldn't see her boobs? Why wouldn't you say no? Absolutely not. Like the way he's answering is just driving me bonkers right now. Just absolute bonkers.
Pants down.
I didn't see her pull her pants down.
Are we going to see your penis out?
Nope.
Are we going to see your penis go in her mouth?
No.
Are we going to get any DNA to that?
No.
Let's switch up for a second. You had another girl. Okay. You probably not necessarily going to remember the name, but her name is Terry Morris. Okay. Black female. Supposedly you promised her a ride to the city rescue mission. Does this ring a bell?
No.
You did a traffic stop with her. She thought you ran her for warrants. Clicking.
That's, by the way, that's the
around.
second. That's the second woman that I played a little bit of her interview where she was. Obviously, something did happen to her, or I believe something did happen to her, and she had the mental issues. That's that person. So this Kim Davis gets assigned Holtzclaw's case. This other detective, Rocky, was working on Terry's case, and that's where this is coming from. Terry, the woman who we saw the interview for, Terry Morris, she reported that crime several weeks earlier, and the police in Oklahoma City did nothing about it, didn't investigate it, nothing. But it's in the back of this guy's head because it was his case. He didn't even follow up with her until Holtzclaw got arrested.
No, name doesn't. I don't recall a name like that.
She's claiming the same thing, the exact same thing. And here again, for whatever reason, things are pointing at you again.
Right.
Now, this was before even this incident this morning. Traffic stop, not logged in, all that stuff.
This morning?
No, this has been a little bit ago.
Okay.
This was here just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay. Anything? Do you remember stopping?
I don't recall a name there anymore.
Well, I wouldn't remember a name.
How about black female downtown, city rescue mission? That's what I was trying to jog your memory.
I haven't been to a city rescue mission.
I didn't say you made it there.
Have you promised anybody a ride to the city rescue
I haven't
mission?
asked anyone asked me to city rescue mission.
No, she didn't have to ask you. Did you offer to take anybody to the city rescue mission?
No, I don't offer anyone because I don't like going there. To be honest with you, I
don't like dealing with what?
I don't like going over to the city rescue mission or anything like that.
Okay. How about any stops of a person just walking, even just downtown? Anywhere downtown?
No. I don't. In spring, like I don't go downtown. Besides, if I go to class in not class in, but Western and Maine to Valero's,
or the jail,
or jail,
or headquarters property, right? And you just don't remember doing any of those type of stops?
No.
Not in the last month or so?
No.
Do you run everybody that you come in contact with?
Majority of the time.
But you didn't run old girl this morning.
The
50th in Lincoln?
No, I didn't run her.
The other girl that he's talking about is kind of making the same allegations, and that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
That's
it doesn't
weird.
it doesn't look good. So, no, I don't. No one with the city rescue mission. Never been asked. Never been offered anyone to go there.
Do you give people rides sometimes?
I do give people rides. I do.
Because sometimes I'd be like, I am not a taxi cab.
Okay,
but
have you always been in your new car? I mean, have you ever had it down? Driving another?
I've had a wreck on 20-something King where it was down for a little bit. Starting out was in pool cars, but this is my take-home car.
No, I'm saying in the last month. Have you been driving any of the older cars?
No.
Black and white versus the solid
I think
black?
this is the only car I've been in.
Have you ever driven a black and white car?
I have, yeah.
When was that?
Right out of the academy, regular Crown Vic.
But when you wrecked your car and it was down, what did you drive?
Crown Vic, black and white.
A black and white one.
Right.
When was that?
A year ago, maybe.
Oh, okay. How long did it take him for?
That's important information. Remember that. So he had not driven a black and white patrol car for more than a year. Just keep that in mind. The Oklahoma City was in the process of changing over from the black and white patrol cars, which they were the older cars, to this new, they're like kind of like a grayish blue color, the newer cars. But he personally has not driven one of those black and white cars in over a year.
Probably.
Get your not how to get away with crime notebook. Jot that down. It will come up later, I promise.
A year and a half.
And it's been this one?
This one, yeah.
So you wrecked it 6 months after having it?
Somewhere around there,
That
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Was it your fault?
No.
Well, that's good.
What do you think about all this?
Heads out here. I want you to take the exam and get this over with. I feel embarrassed because going to the station.
Well, that's why we try to handle it.
Right. And I've heard of officers going through this and whatnot, and that's something I don't want my rep to be, about. I'm a good officer. I don't. That's not me. It's not me.
Are you circumcised?
I'm circumcised.
Just asking. Do you have pubic hair?
Yes.
Well, I mean, some people manscape, as you call it.
Right.
You groom?
I groom.
Okay.
Yes.
So do I.
You got any identifying marks around your penis?
I don't.
Just a plain old penis, huh?
Plain old penis.
Plain old 14-incher.
I don't know what to say about that, but
See, you should have. You just had your opportunity.
Why?
I just don't know what to.
Why do grown adults think that, like, not only grown adults, but grown adults in the sex crime unit find it hilarious to talk about how long somebody's penis is? Is anybody else giggling at that joke? It's ridiculous.
What to think? Would you take a polygraph?
Yeah, if you want to take a polygraph.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a solution. Do you know how slow DNA is?
I do not.
Slow. You be willing to take a polygraph on it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going. Get that set up.
You, that's kind of delving off different, but you married?
I'm not married.
Girlfriends?
Here and there.
Kids?
No kids.
You're big. You on roids?
I'm not on steroids.
A little bit?
No,
Which I don't care.
I've always been a big...
I'm not the dope police.
I've always been a big bone guy, football athletic.
You got more than big bones. You got big muscles, too.
I work out all the time.
Do you?
I do.
Where do you work out?
At a 4-star gym off of May, about 63rd.
Yeah. No roids at all?
No roids.
You do all the protein drinks and all that stuff.
I drink a lot of protein.
That can damage your kidneys, just so you know.
So...
If you did roids, would you tell us?
I would.
I mean, because we don't care.
I have nothing to hide about that. I've always been a big guy. Always work out all the time and whatnot.
When was the last shower you had?
Took a shower before work.
When you went home, was anybody home?
My girlfriend was home.
Do you live with her?
Huh? No, she didn't. She just stayed.
Did you get laid?
Messed around, yeah.
What's messed around?
This is the part where there's an inconsistency. I mentioned it earlier, where he's saying that him and his girlfriend made out and he wanted to have sex, but she shut him down because it was 2 a.m. No offense to Mr. Zed, but if you came home from work at 2 a.m. and woke me up to mess around, I would shut you down too. Understandable. So his girlfriend, well, you'll see.
I guess...
We were all adults.
We almost had sex, and she was tired.
What'd you do?
So my penis went around her vagina, and then maybe went a little bit in, and then she pushed me off and said, no, we don't want to. I'm tired. I was like, okay.
Like, keep in mind also, she could have been dead asleep and not remember this. Like, that is also a possibility. That she was dead asleep, or maybe she had been drinking. We don't know. I don't know about the girlfriend, but... she could have been dead asleep and he tried to mess around with her and she just like rolled over and doesn't remember the next morning.
That's kind of mean to let it get that far and then stop.
So that's when you got home?
That's when I got home.
How often do you have sex?
About once a day, if that.
You guys have sex once a day?
Yeah.
How old are you?
27.
Well, yeah.
How much you jerk off?
Why are we asking this?
Maybe once a day.
So you have sex once a day and masturbate once a day?
Yeah.
What'd you do when you got shot down at home today? Usually you got to relieve that.
Right.
I know.
That was before work. That happened before work.
You masturbated before work?
Yeah.
Did you just go roll over and go to sleep when she didn't give you any?
Yeah.
You ever been accused of anything like this before?
I haven't.
Not in Michigan?
No. I have not.
You weren't one of those football players.
I wasn't. I was not.
Yeah, I'm feeling awkward. I don't know about you guys. Very awkward.
Anything you can think of that will help us help you.
They're not trying to help you, Daniel.
I want to go test. I want to get clear of my game. I want to get clear.
Because you know what? If this is a bunch of false allegations, then I want it cleared up too.
Right.
And I'll help you clear it up and it's this. We don't talk. It's not. It's swarming around Spring Lake. It's out there.
It's just in the department too. So
it's not swarming all over the department. We in sex crimes, we do not run around and go, guess what? This is what we're going to work. We don't do that. It's not professional. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's around Spring Lake.
Right.
And everybody's gonna know that we pulled you down here. We tried to do it as discreetly as we could.
Right.
But, and like I said, there's officers that, I'm not saying being with the hookers is right, but it happens.
Right.
And it's life.
Right.
And if that's what this was, lay it out there for me now.
Right. No, it wasn't. No.
Did she offer anything? Don't take me to jail.
Rebellion brings up a good point. Yeah, he will just sit there through any question, and I think here's where we're at. These officers are older and are not technically his superiors. However, they are they're higher ranking than him, and his first job out of college was to become a police officer. This is the only job that he's known. And there's a hierarchy in police departments. So I think that he thinks he has to sit there. I think that he doesn't realize, even though he's a cop and he should know this, he's young. He's 27 years old. And he doesn't realize, or it's not clicking in his head. Maybe if he thought about it, he would realize it. But I think it's not clicking in his head to say, a lawyer, I want my union rep, get them here now, and then I will be happy to talk with you. I think it just hasn't clicked in his head. I think that he feels as if it'd be like if your boss's boss or somebody that you don't directly report to, but is higher ranking than you and your regular job comes in and starts talking to you. Like, he's at work right now. So it's not the same as if you're just a regular run-of-the-mill criminal off the street and you have no relationship to these people at all. These are his colleagues, you know?
I'll do this, I'll do this. Did she offer you anything?
I think she was nervous, like I said earlier, maybe a little flirtatious, but nothing crazy.
She never offered anything in exchange for you not taking her?
No, she's really worried about going to jail. But
yeah.
Sometimes
they'll say, you're right. He can lose his job if he doesn't comply with the investigation, but also he cannot lose his job for asking for his representative to help him with the process. That's expected. I would assume that's expected with any police officer who's in any kind of trouble. I think they expect them to ask for their union rep or some sort of legal counsel. I assume. But I'm almost positive, and I know you were in some sort of law enforcement in your past life, that they can't hold it against you if you ask for your representative. So let me know if I'm wrong about that.
Hey, I'll give you a hammer if I don't go to jail.
No.
She didn't offer that?
Mm-hmm. She was nervous. Like I said, she cried earlier.
Did she cry as soon as you stopped her, or after she was in your car? When did she start crying?
I think in the car, yeah.
What made you let her go? Number one.
To be honest, I want to get home.
Then why'd you pull her over?
Like I said earlier, I just cop, swerve, DUI, and if I had to do it, I would have done it. But I didn't think that she was past the legal limit.
That's just, I just would avoid that if I. Did you at any time? You said you picked her up around 50th and Lincoln. When you saw her swerve,
right.
Did you at any time? Were you always behind her, or did you pull up beside her to maybe see who was in the car and then pull back behind her?
She was at 50th and Lincoln, swerved, and I was behind her. So I fell behind her. And then were you
ever beside her?
No.
What lane was she in?
The mouse helmet.
Closest to the curb?
Yeah.
Did you ever pull up beside her on this way and then fall behind her?
No. I was directly behind her by here, and she swerved.
And you stayed behind her? Because sometimes I would pull up beside to see, okay, how many people am I dealing with in the car?
I didn't do that time. I've done that before, but
right, you didn't do that.
I didn't do it this time. No.
Could you tell if she was the only passenger?
I couldn't. It was dark tinted windows. I couldn't tell.
So you didn't know how many people you were walking up on?
No, I didn't.
Did she roll down her window as soon as you?
She had the back left window rolled down, and then she never rolled it up, and I think she opened the door, if I recall.
Okay. And was it pretty quick that you took her to the back, to your car?
After a couple questions, license, insurance, typical thing. She just gave me her little Oklahoma identification card. And that's like, okay, investigate attention, come back to the car with me.
Okay. Yeah, because that gives you a reason to search if you need it. What would you have done if you had found some dope or a gun or something?
As officers, if you find a little dime bag, it's, you can squash it out, rub it out. With gun, obviously, different story.
Are you logged out when?
I don't know the exact time, but off Prospect, when I about hit Prospect, and probably about 50th, I logged out.
Do you guys, because it's done different now, do you have to go to the station and check all your stuff in?
Hand in our activity and all that one night.
You do that every night?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't go to a buddy, here, turn this in, I'm going home.
And then lieutenants clear us and say, you guys can go home.
Okay, so you didn't, and what, do they make you wait till straight up 2, or do they cut you 10 to 2?
Majority of the time. Sometimes it's just up to the supervisor.
Okay.
The majority of the time.
And then you left?
Right that, yeah. And then I headed up 50th, going northbound.
How'd you get to 50th? Just down Prospect?
Spring Lake Station, took a right to go north, off Prospect, took a left to go westbound on 50th.
And then picked her up at Lincoln.
About there-ish to the east, where I saw her.
Any other traffic out there?
No, that was the only car.
What about during the time that you had her stopped for like 15 minutes? Was there a lot of traffic going by? Was there any traffic going by?
I think there was cars I could see as far as going west towards our direction and whatnot, but nothing like real crazy driving by us all the time.
Step out.
Hang for a minute. Let us powwow. My shirt's up in there.
So they end up, oh, my camera's off. I had to go refill my water, in case you're wondering what was going on there. They end up coming back. They collect his clothing. They do, well, you saw them do the swab or whatever. What they don't do, which is kind of annoying, is they don't go to his house. He ends up saying that the underwear that he was wearing, so the whole uniform he's wearing is the same uniform that he wore the other night, right? They put Leia on the screen in case you guys want to buy Leia a dog, a milk bone or whatever. They end up not going to his house to collect the underwear that he said had not been washed yet, or like the undershirt. He did not, or he changed out his like undershirt and his underwear and like socks and stuff, obviously. The shirt and the pants were the same that he was wearing the night before. So they did collect that from him right then and there. They didn't collect the evidence, is what I'm saying. It's kind of annoying. All right, let's move along. So, Terry Morris. That's the woman that we saw a little bit earlier. She claims to have been raped by a cop who had picked her up and driven her to a different location. So she's walking down the street. The cop stops her and he offers a ride, and he doesn't take her home. He takes her to a third location and vaginally rapes her. She said the officer was a white man with dark skin and brown hair. She said the officer was driving a black and white patrol car with a cage, like a, like the back of cops' cars have. It had like the cage thing in it instead of the plexiglass. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said it was vaginal rape. I lied. I was mistaken. Terry said that it was oral sex that lasted about 10 minutes. The initial... did I do this part already? I did. Okay, we're moving on to the next one. But first, I want to say a very, very big thank you to Waffle Salter, who is here. I've missed you, Waffle Salter. I was worried about you when you hadn't shown up for I think I did a few weeks ago messaged you to see if you were okay, because I hadn't seen you in a while. But when I get a $50 super chat, I will stop my show immediately and not wait for a break, because that's amazing. Thank you so much. I was beginning to give up hope because nobody supports me anymore. But you do, so I will continue doing these long research projects. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs here right now. So we're going to give them each 2. Everybody tell Waffle Salter what an awesome... Tell me what you like best about Waffle Salter in the chat while we do this. I would appreciate it. So we'll start with Leia, who's on screen right now. Leia's just visiting. She visits every once in a while. She is a miniature boxer. Oops, and I just kicked the tripod. Not great. And she's the snuggliest, nicest dog you would ever want to know. So we're going to go in order. We have Leia, Ava, Xena, and we'll get Luke here in a second. Yes, their names are Luke and Leia. Their parents are very big Star Wars fans. Leia. Oop. Talk amongst yourselves. Leia, this for you. There's Leia. Ava's here. Ava, do a high five. That was close. There's everybody's favorite Xena. Xena, will you do a shake for Waffle Salter? Does she? That's a good girl. And this is Luke. He's a Jack Russell. We're going to give him one. There you go. Oh, yeah. I'm going to go down the line again. Leia. Ava. Oh, yeah. And Luke. We'll do one more for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, my goodness. What just happened? I'm going to cry, Waffle Salter. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. I'm not going to get teary-eyed, I promise. You've just restored hope in my life. I want every single person in this chat to say something very nice to Waffle Salter right now. You have no idea how much that means to me. I know there's a lot of other channels that live stream that it's just normal for them to get super chats like that. It is not. What is happening right now? Waffle Salter just donated another $50. So that's $200 right now. Somebody got their tax returns. Thank you so much. We're going to the large screen. We are, if I can figure out what the heck I'm doing. That's not it.
What you really think?
That was the wrong screen as well. Okay. We're going to make them big. We'll make me small. I can do this. I can tech, right? Bam. You could just see Ava's ear right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. People are saying nice things about you, I hope? I hope so. Yes. Benevolent, so I can talk. I'll just get the camera. I'll just grab it. All right. There is Leia. There's the terrorist. Ah, wrong dog. Go back over here. This is very entertaining for you guys, I'm sure. I forgot Luke. Let's get Luke in here. Luke? Oh. It's gonna come off the tripod if I go any. I have to put this back. We can't do it that way. We cannot do it that way. We'll go Luke over here. Luke, come here. Luke. All right. You have to believe me that Luke's getting treats right now, but if I move that tripod any further, the thing is going to fall apart. It's like duct tape production over here. Luke. right. Everybody's got tons of treats. I think they all have. Oh my goodness. Every time I look over, there's. Waffle Salter just donated another $300 right now. Totally derailing the show, by the way. We have more victims to get to, but this is better. This is better than that. I'm just going to take this off the tripod. We'll do it that way. I'm just grabbing a whole handful. I'm just doing a whole handful of treats right now. Not that many. I really don't want them to get sick. Oh, man. Holy cow. Off the tripod. You guys get to see my whole room now. Look at my popcorn ceiling. Isn't that nice? All right. We have... It's Ava, chill. That's Leia. That's Ava. There's that one. Oh, go ahead. I have striped socks on today. Let me do more. And Luke. Since I have the camera down, do you guys want to see my setup? I'll do that. This is what I have going on behind the scenes. This is behind the scenes at Katie Zed's house. Waffle Salter just bought you guys this tour right here. I have my dry erase board up there. I have instructions. We have cameras. A couple cameras. There's another one over there. Police reports. And we have a 7-month membership from Smith. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I have lots of dogs here. And we're doing a behind-the-scenes tour, apparently. If this cord was longer, I could back up. But, yeah. This is the behind-the-scenes at the Katie Zed show. We have really just lamps and stuff. All right. We're going back. We're going back to the show now. I appreciate you guys so much. That in. A couple more. Thank you, Smith. And Luke. Everybody got their treats. Everybody got their treats. I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Yes, we have lots of dogs here. We have my co-host, Zena, obviously. We have Luke and we have Leia. And we are going to put them back in order. And then I'm going to tell you about these other victims. It's horrible I should say but he was convicted. What happened to these women? I don't know if you've picked it up by now, but I'm not believing all of their stories. Can you believe it? I don't believe many of them, if not all. But let's continue. The next one is Sherry Ellis. Sherry Ellis. So Sherry Ellis is walking down the street, and Holtzclaw stops her, runs her through the system to check for warrants. Now, I don't know if this is legal to do. Somebody who's smarter than me, let me know. Can a cop just stop you and run your, if he doesn't see you committing a crime, I thought that he can't, stop and ask for ID. Or is it that he stops and asks for ID, but then, she could say no, but she didn't say no? I'm not sure how that works. I don't know. But in all of these cases, you'll hear time and time again where he just pulls over, asks them for ID, and they just give it to him. I don't know what that's about. Oops, my notes popped up on the screen. So she's walking down the street. Holtzclaw stops her, ran her through the system for warrants, and yeah, okay, so might be wrong saying they can ask. They can say no. If I'm walking down the street and a cop asks me for my ID, I can just say no, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Anyway, Ellis did have a warrant, and Holtzclaw told her that he would look the other way if she did him a favor. Remember, this came from Detective Kim's brain originally. This is where we first saw this doing a favor sort of stuff going on. She did have a warrant, and Holtzclaw told her he'd look the other way if she did him a favor. The next thing she knew, he was pulling out his member and told her to take your pants off. Take your pants off. I'm pulling my penis out. Whew. They proceeded to have oral sex, which why would she need her pants off if they were going to have oral sex? I'm not sure. That sort of doesn't line up. And, I switched the page, but you can see from this report, we have stuff highlighted here, but, she described him. They said, well, what did the officer look like that, assaulted you or offered you this thing if, to look the other way? If, what was the description of the officer? She didn't know the name of the officer or whatever. She said it was a short black man. Do you guys remember what Daniel Holtzclaw looks like? Because definitely...
No, that's what I was saying. It was the head.
Definitely not a short black man, by the way. Definitely not. This guy is a giant. He's a big guy. He's Japanese American, and he's can't be confused with a short black man. It would have to be like pitch black for that to happen. Not to mention the fact she allegedly had his penis in her mouth, right? And not that I would know, but I'm pretty sure there's a difference in sizes of things among races. I've heard. I don't know. Now, Tabitha Barnes is the next one. She reports, this is in 2014, and in February of 2014, she reports a burglary at her residence. Daniel Holtzclaw and several other officers arrive, and do you guys see what's going on next to me? Leia's petting Ava. Anyway, she reports a burglary. A bunch of cops show up. She reports, does the report for the burglary or whatever. What's key here is at that time, she does not mention a sexual assault at all. Shanice Barkdale's next. This is going to be in March of 2014. She claims to be sexually assaulted by Daniel Holtzclaw as well. Barksdale reported that he made her drive to the nearby Woodson Park, where she said he grabbed her breasts over her clothing and then put his fingers down her pants. And that's according to the probable cause affidavit, which I thought I had pulled up. Maybe I didn't. Okay, coming up next is actually that's not next. So, this is okay. So the next one is Florine Mathis, and she's going to claim that Holtzclaw stopped her, did a warrant check, just like he did with these other women. So, stops her on the street, asks for ID, runs her in the system or whatever. He fondled her chest while standing on the street. When another car drove by, he stopped what he was doing and let her go. That's her story. Let's listen to... I want you guys to hear this part because the way Kim Davis... Keep in mind, this person right now is in jail for a different crime. And... Kim comes in hot and is like, well, she doesn't say this, but you could just listen to it.
Crimes, okay? And we received a tip. We're in the middle of an investigation, and during that investigation, a tip came across that you may have been sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer.
Okay, so just that. That's a long pause right here. She comes in and says, hey, were you sexually assaulted by a cop? Because we need you to say some stuff. Anyway, just keep watching.
Get a chair. Do you want a Kleenex?
That noise, by the way, is on their recording. That that is yeah. That's on their recording. While we're watching this, I'm writing your name on, like, I don't know, a bunch of these little things for next month's drawing, Waffle Salter. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. I'll message you later.
I don't even remember what day it was.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry about your ears. They're dragging a chair in. But I want you to listen to the background noises of women just screaming at each other in the jail.
We'd like to talk to you about that. And we'll take as much time as you need. I'm going to take some notes if you don't care. Do you remember? Can I ask some questions? Are you ready? Do you remember what month it was?
No.
Okay. Did you ever tell anybody? Okay. Can you tell me I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't mean this in a bad way, and I'm not judging or anything. Were you on drugs?
Yeah, Moose says she's forgetting her lines. Yeah, it seems like she is forgetting her lines, doesn't it?
That day? Okay. That's fine. What were you using that day?
Crack.
Okay.
And I've been drinking. That's all I got.
Crack is whack.
Drinking.
What's that town?
Do you remember, were you driving or were you walking? How did you come in contact with him?
I was walking.
Do you remember what street you were walking on?
No, I had just left 16th and Jordan.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And where did you get stopped?
I'm sorry. I have to stop the show for a second because I just switched over to my Rumble chat. And I'm going to put this on the screen real quick. Let's pop out the chat on Rumble. Now, it shows that there's 15 people watching on Rumble right now, but only one person chatting. And the one person chatting is Waffle Salter. And he made a $500 donation on Rumble as well. I don't even know what to say. The dogs have gone outside, except for Leia. But when they come back, which they will, we're going to stop the show again and do that whole thing that we just did one more time. What do you see? I don't even know what to say. I have no words right now. I have no words for the love that I feel right now from Waffle Salter and all of you as well, by the way. Just the fact that you're here listening to me talk about this stuff. I enjoy telling these stories. I hope somebody can learn something from hearing these stories. And I just appreciate the fact that you are here to listen to me. And if you weren't, Mr. Zed appreciates it too, because otherwise I would just be telling him about true crime stories all day long, every day. And so I'm glad that I have this outlet. I'm glad that somebody's here to listen to it. And you have no idea how much I appreciate the fact that I can have this hobby that actually makes a little bit of money. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I may have mentioned it, but our deck collapsed recently and we had to build a new deck. And what Waffle Salter just did helps us out so much. You have no idea. All right. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to put this back on and we're just going to go along and we're going to try not to cry tears of joy.
Like 17th or 18th in like Cape. It was close to a park.
Do you know where that comes? Okay. I don't know the east side very good, but she does. So I'm going to be 18th near Kate. What time of day was it?
It was like 6 or 7
in the evening. Okay, tell me this and it'll help me. Time of year, was it dark or was it still light?
It was kind of dark.
So that's going to be before daylight savings time, before the time change, or do you know? What were you wearing to tell me the weather?
That's always my question too. What was she wearing? That's a very good question, Kim. The first one you've had so far, by the way.
I had on, it had just started getting warm.
Okay. So do you remember what you were wearing?
I know I had on some jeans. I had on some black jeans and I can't remember what. I know I had on like a tank top with a jacket over it.
What kind of jacket? Like a coat or like a sweatshirt
like
type of jacket or something else?
It was one of the flannel hoodies, jackets.
Okay. Tell me a little bit. You tell me, you left 16th and Jordan. Is that where you were smoking and drinking? Okay. And you start walking, were you walking alone?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you got approached. Did he come from behind you, from the side of you, or from directly straight on?
It was from behind me.
Okay.
He stopped and asked me if I had ID.
Did he get out of the car to ask you that?
Yes.
And he asked if you had ID?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you?
Yes.
Did you have a purse or did you have it in your pocket?
In my pocket.
Okay. Did you give it to him?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what happened next.
He ran a check and I came back clear.
Did he run a check over the radio or over his computer, or do you know?
I don't know. I remember.
Okay. Then what? Now, when he's running you, are you standing outside of the car? Are you sitting in the car?
He had me sitting on the curb.
Do you hear how she's, I forgot.
Did
I
he
had
get
this
back
wrong.
in the car?
Do you see how Kim is like leading her along and just like feeding her the information and then she's parroting it back? We're not going to watch this whole 26-minute video, but I just want you guys to kind of, there's a few of these that were recorded because they took place in a jail. There is one that took place, or two of them. The first one that we saw with Terry, where she was in that victim's room. There's a couple that took place at the police station. Most of them, they didn't record the interviews at all, or they didn't turn them over with Discovery. I'm not sure which, but I just want you guys to see kind of how these interviews are going, or how they're wording stuff. And keep in mind, she's in jail right now. This is a woman who's in jail for a separate crime. I mean, not that she committed a crime if what she's saying is true, but it's not like an interrogation.
To run you?
Yes.
Are you on his driver's side or passenger side when you're sitting on the curb? Okay. Then what happened?
And he started asking me about other girls that was working girls and stuff that was around through that area, if I knew any of them. And,
did he call them working girls?
he said, are there any, he actually said,
Was he out of the
he
car?
more or less pertained it like I was out there working and I told him I wasn't. I was on my way home.
Was he out of the car when he was doing this?
Yes.
Have you ever been a working girl before?
Years ago.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go on to the next victim. So that's Florine Mathis. Like y'all to meet Florine Mathis. The next one is Tabitha Barnes. Oh, I did have a timestamp that I wanted to play. It's 16 minutes for this one before we move on. So at 16 minutes, she describes her attacker. Y'all remember what Holtzclaw looks like, right? Back it up a few seconds. I just want you to keep in mind, picture Holtzclaw with his closed eyes sitting in that interrogation chair. Just picture him. And now listen to this.
That been brought in here.
I don't remember. I've been trying to keep it blocked out.
Give me a description of him. White male, black male, Indian male, Mexican male.
He may, I don't know. He could have been part Hispanic.
Hispanic.
Okay.
No, he was real muscular.
Muscular Hispanic man. Which he is muscular.
Did you notice a name tag? Okay. How tall was he? And you don't have to be perfect, just kind of.
Probably about 5'10".
5'10".
How much did he weigh?
Hispanic.
Probably about 2 something.
And when you say real muscular, like workout muscular or just a big guy?
Muscular.
Muscular. Okay.
All right, so we have a 5'10" Hispanic guy who's muscular. That does fit. I don't even know what to say with that. Like, you know what I mean? The one lady said he was a black guy. This one is saying he's a Hispanic guy. Either there's a rash of people on the police department in Oklahoma City in 2014 sexually assaulting women, or hear me out, they're thinking they're getting a payday and a get out of jail free card. All right, we're on to Tabitha Barnes. This is Tabitha here. And Tabitha Barnes was sitting in her car with her 2 daughters and a friend around 11:30 at night. She doesn't remember what day it is, but it's 11:30 at night because they were on their way to the store, but they were waiting until midnight when the food stamp money would hit their account. So apparently, fortunately for me, have never had to be on public assistance. Thank God for that. People do need public assistance, and I totally understand. But I guess the money hits your account, like goes onto that card or whatever it's called in Oklahoma, I don't know, at midnight. So they're sitting in front of their house, just hanging out in the car with 2 kids and 2 adult women, waiting for midnight to go to the store, which seemed a little fishy to me because wouldn't you, like if you're going to the 24-hour Walmart or whatever, let me put the chat back up. If you're going to the 24-hour grocery store and you're waiting for, it's 11:30 at night and you need the clock to hit midnight, the clock doesn't have to hit midnight when you walk into the store. It has to hit midnight by the time you walk out of the store, correct? So I'm thinking if I was in Tabitha Barnes' situation and I had to wait till midnight to do my grocery shopping, that I would be in the Walmart filling up my cart with whatever I needed for that 30 minutes. Well, plus you have to drive to the store. They were still at the house, so you would have to drive to the store, however far away that is. In a city, it could be 5 minutes. I'm thinking about when I lived in Chicago, the drive to the supermarket was like 3 blocks away, but walking out to the car, getting in the car, driving, parking, walking into the store, 5 minutes, right? Very short amount of time. So then you have 25 minutes to walk around the store and get what you want. And if you are there and it hasn't hit midnight yet, you could just kind of hang out at the store and like just shop, like, you know, look at stuff or whatever. Anyway, that sounded odd to me. Put it that way. So 2 police cars pull up to them sitting in front of their house, and the officers told the women, both women, to get out of the car, and he sent the kids into the house. I don't know how old these kids are, but I'm assuming they were older kids because the police officers wouldn't have the kids go in the house by themselves unless they were, I would say, probably above the age of 12. Like how old? I'm trying to think how old I was, although I'm old, so people did stuff different. But in 2014, how old would a kid have to be to stay at home alone? I think 12, 10, 12, I'm not sure. But if I was just running to the store, I would leave my 10-year-old home alone for a little bit. 12, 14, something like that. Maybe teenagers, I'm not sure. But they sent the kids inside, and they pull the 2 women out of the car and do the whole thing with the running the background check, or not the background check, but running there to see if they have any active warrants, anything like that. Holtzclaw takes Tabitha and puts her in the back of his car while he runs the record, and the other officer that was with them took the other woman to do that. So after a few minutes, she sees the other officer drive off and her friend go back into the house. Now, she has warrants. Tabitha does. Holtzclaw told her he would take care of the tickets if she did something for him. We've heard this before. He then ended up fondling her chest. That's all the allegations in this one. When she got up, there was a $20 bill on the seat next to her, and she took the money. This is the first time a $20 bill comes up. It'll come up again. Get your notebook, katiez.com. It's 14 whatever it was on katiez.com. So grab that, make this note, $20 bill on the seat. Next, we're coming up to Carla Johnson. This is Carla. At 9 p.m., Carla was walking down the street, and most of these women, they're coming to them months later, up to a year later, saying, were you ever sexually assaulted by a cop? And they're... What the flip? Sorry, I pressed buttons. I forgot it's touch. I can touch it, and I touched it, and I turned it down. So she's walking down the street around 9 o'clock, and he does the same thing where he stops her, asks for her identification. He runs her name for warrants. He ends up finding a very long list of... Maybe I should have you guys guess. What do you think she has convictions for? If you had to take a wild stab at it, he finds a long list of convictions. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds in the chat to tell me what you think the convictions are for. She has no warrants, though, but long list of convictions. I'll tell you in a second. Actually, the first person who gets it right will get their name in the drawing. How about that? If you guess correctly right now, the first person to get it might be wrong. Crack, absolutely. She has drug convictions. Might be wrong gets his name into the thing. Might be wrong, but he might be right too. You never know. Your name's going in the drawing for next month. You know what? Christian got it too, and I think you were probably typing while Might Be Wrongs came, so I'll put Christo in there too. Christo gets an entry into the thing. I don't know what MOHAP means. Waffle Salter. I don't know what MOHAP means. All right, so she's got a long list of felony drug convictions, but no warrants. When he's searching her for drugs, because obviously if you stop somebody and they have a bunch of drug convictions, you would probably want to search them for drugs. She does not have any prostitution or anything else, only drug convictions. That's in the report. I'm not, that's... Oh, Michelle Obama has a penis. Yep. Got it. You're not wrong. So as she's getting out of the car, she also saw a $20 bill on the seat and picked it up. Oh, I forgot the part. I forgot the important part. So when he was searching her for drugs, she said that he put her hands down the front of her pants and used his fingers to do stuff down there and also fondled her chest. So as she's getting out of the car, she also sees a $20 bill on the seat. Moving along, we're going to go to Carla Rains. Carla Rains. There's Carla. Hi, Carla. So Carla, I wish I could make this bigger, but I have the notes written here, so I'll just read it to you. Carla. Carla is it's 10 o'clock now. She said she was walking, what? She said she was walking a newer model. Oh, she was walking in a newer model Oklahoma City patrol car past her, then made a U-turn, pulled up to her and stopped. This is the type of car that he was driving, by the way. If you recall correctly, several of these other women did say it was a black and white, and he didn't. In the time frame that this happened, he did not have a black and white patrol car. So a newer model, pulled a U-turn, and stopped her, asked for her ID or whatever. Holtzclaw did a quick pat down, stating, "I have to check you." Rains claims at this point, Holtzclaw made a motion for her to pull up her shirt. So he didn't say, pull up your shirt. He just did some sort of motion. I don't know what it was. This interview is not recorded. Or if it is, I didn't see it. But pull up your shirt. So he pulls up her shirt and basically flashes him. Holtzclaw never specifically told her to expose herself. That's all that happened. A pat down, and he motioned to flash him, and she obliged. Rosetta Great. Oh, we have another video. Rosetta was walking down the street when Holtzclaw stopped her. She said she was forced to perform oral and vaginal sex with Holtzclaw. She said he unzipped his pants. This is another thing you want to make a note of in your notebook. He unzipped his pants and put his member through the zipper hole. This will come into play a little bit later. Listen to it. This is an hour long. We're going to listen to just a few minutes of this one.
Non-wanted sex.
Okay.
It seems so low. Let me turn it up.
And I know you've been arrested a whole bunch of times.
You think?
Is that right? Have you ever been arrested for prostitution?
Twice.
Okay.
Or what? Did they call it prostitution? Call it
Ludags?
Ludags. Okay.
That's fine.
Ludac's are not offering to engage.
One offering to engage, and I think one of these.
Were you a suspect in the Ludac's?
No, it was like a sting operation at the motel.
Okay.
So you've worked as a prostitute, and we don't care. I mean, I care for you that I wouldn't want you to put your body through that, but I don't care. We're not holding that against you. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you have any mental health history? Do you have anxiety, depression, take any medicine?
No.
Do you have any medical problems?
No.
Have you in the past? Have you ever been treated for STDs or anything like that?
Okay. Do you have any kids?
One, she's 17.
Who has her?
My sister-in-law, my brother.
Have you ever been married? How long
I'm gonna speed it up. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit.
have you been? How long have you had a drug problem?
9 years.
How come you're in here now? Well, I know about you got arrested because you made a pretend phone call. I thought that was quite sharp. What, you had warrants for what?
I have a warrant for
Violation of disability?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the women's diversion program.
You're in the what?
Female diversion.
What's that?
It's a drug program.
I can't stand this cop either, number 2.
I did it before, man.
And it's not just because she's a woman, it's because she's a bad cop.
Is that your only warrant, that violation? And is that why you tried to distract the officer because you knew you had a warrant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about. You tell me, you just start from the beginning, and then I'll ask you questions when I need clarification about stuff. How about that?
It's about that officer, right?
Yep.
Okay. I was on a relapse.
And weed or coke or both?
I was on coke.
Crack?
Crack.
Okay.
I was on 14th and Jordan.
Okay.
Where you went to school south to northbound.
Do what?
South to northbound on Jordan.
So you're on Jordan?
Uh-huh. And he rose up on.
Were you walking?
Yeah.
You don't have a car?
No.
Okay.
Well, I did, but then my brother has it, so I don't have a license.
Okay.
And anyways, he rose up on me.
Did he come from head on or he came from behind? Which? He came from behind you? Okay.
And I know I had a piece of crack pipe on me. I knew there was no crack because if you're on 14th in Jordan, but 14th, then 9 times 10 you have crack. But if you're on Jordan and 14th, then you're probably trying to work, catch a date.
Okay, were you prostituting or were you going after dope or what were you doing?
I was leaving the spot because I just smoked some crack. But I knew I needed to get back. That was one of my relapses. And I was only coming out for a few hours at that time.
Okay, so you had just smoked some crack. But when you say you're coming out for a few hours to get a date, to get some more money?
Yeah, but I knew I needed to walk home. This was one of them intense relapses where I'm stressed out because I know I need to walk home.
Okay. So my thing is, are you walking home to go home or are you walking because you need a date for more money?
Both.
Okay.
I was walking home, but in the hopes of the mix, I cut it.
Okay.
And he was like, what's going on, man? If you get to know me, I'll tell you everything. I mean, there's no use to playing around with it. I was like, I'm on probation, I'm relapsing, my dude's mad because he knows I'm supposed to be in this situation or in this area, blah, 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 blah. And whatever.
So, okay, let me slow you down there. Did he get, when he rolled up behind you, did he get out of the car?
Yeah.
And are you guys...
well, at first he was like, what are you doing over here?
Did he get out or did he roll down his window to talk to you?
He rolled down the window first.
He rolled down the window and said, what are you doing over here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did you tell him?
I told him I was getting high.
You told him you were getting high? You told him that?
Yeah.
Well, at least you're honest.
I was getting high. I mean, it is what it is. There's no point. He's like, didn't ask me something about that. I said, everybody knows there's an open search warrant on that house. Don't ask me if they're selling drugs over there because you know they're there. That's selling it. That's when he got out. And so after I told him everything, I was like,
Okay, when you're telling him everything, are y'all just standing outside?
Yeah.
Outside of his car?
Yeah, my little black purse I had was on top of his car.
Did he put it up there?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me everything you told him.
I told him that I had relapsed, but I was still doing my program at that time.
Okay.
I relapsed,
Okay.
and my boyfriend was upset about it because I didn't have business being in the area, and that's what we argued about.
You and your boyfriend. Okay.
Now remember this, that part of a lot of these women's story is that they were somewhere where they're not supposed to be, and they're lying to their significant others. This is, I think, the third one that this is the case. And if you recall the Brock Turner case, that was also what happened is that the alleged victim in the Brock Turner case cheated on her boyfriend and then came up with the story about how she was assaulted after the fact.
Because he doesn't want me to do drugs.
Okay.
And I said, I've been trying to walk up for a couple hours, but every time I walk up, catch a date, I'm right back over here.
So you told him, been trying to walk home, but if you catch a date, you end up back over here?
Yeah.
I don't know. How many dates did you catch that night?
That day?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a couple, because I wasn't out there for a couple hours.
Okay. So you told him that every time I catch a date, I end up back over here, then what?
And it was like, I just walked home, but I was like, every time I catch a date, come back over here, I don't know if I'm home. That's when he offered a ride.
Oh, to take you home?
Yeah.
And I didn't ask you this, what time is it that he rolled up on you? About, like, is it daylight, is it dark?
It's daylight.
It's daylight? Okay. So he offers you a ride home. Did you tell him, okay, and where's home? Is that your daddy's house or is that Culberson? Did you give an address?
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten in the car yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how, did he search you before you got in the car or anything?
Yeah, he searched the purse and made me bring my little crack pipe.
He searched your purse?
Mm-hmm.
So this story is going very similarly to the other ones, but I want you guys to kind of get an idea of the personalities that we're dealing with here. I think that helps a lot. So we're going to move along to Kayla Lyles. Kayla, hold on, I have a picture of her, I think. Here we go. This is Kayla. Or Kala. I'm sorry, I'm totally mispronouncing this poor woman's name. Kala. She went for a walk, and right after she had gotten to a fight with her boyfriend, she was stopped by Holtzclaw, and he asked if she needed a ride. She got into his patrol car, and she said, yeah, I need a ride. And she gets into the patrol car, and she said he took her somewhere that was not her house. She doesn't know where. He opened the car door, like she was in the back seat. Same sort of situation where he opens the back door, puts his hands on top of the car, and has her perform on him, right? He then told her to take her pants off and vaginally raped her as well. She was also made to take her shirt off, and he fondled her chest. We're almost, like, there's a lot of victims here. Like I said, this is going to be a two-parter, but I'm going to get through these last 3, 4, 5 victims, but we're going to go a little faster because I just heard Mr. Zed get home from work, and I'm hungry. I forgot to eat today. So this next one is Shardarian Hill. Shardarian Hill is the name. Shardarian Hill. There's Shardarian. This story is a little crazy. This is a good one. This is a story. So on 12/20/2013, she was arrested for distribution of PCP. and she was transported to the SWMC, which is like the Southwest Medical Center, I think that stands for an overdose. Because when she gets pulled over, gets arrested, she's got like some sort of container of PCP, and she puts it in her mouth and chews it real quick. And they're like, whoa, we got to take you to the doctor because you can't just be eating PCP like that, lady. So she's stopped for the possession of PCP. She ate the drugs. She was then transported to the hospital. She claims while she was handcuffed to the hospital bed, Holtzclaw fondled her and forced her to fondle him. She's handcuffed to, like, have you guys been to a hospital before? Picture you're in the emergency room or just any hospital. You know, anybody could walk into those curtains. I don't know. It might have been a door, but anybody could walk in there at any time, right? Have you ever felt like you had any kind of privacy at a hospital before? I haven't, especially like maybe once you're like checked into the hospital and you're like up in your room. Ow, that hurt. Like once you're up in your room, maybe you have some semblance of privacy, but still like at least once you're up in your room, they knock before they come in. But when you're in the intake, like the ER portion, people are just coming and going all the time, right? So she claims she's handcuffed to the bed. He fondles her, they go back and forth with the fondling. Yeah. And then, she never reports it until, the news story started breaking about Holtzclaw being arrested for those first ones. Then she comes forward and is like, hey guys, so that's the cop that, fondled me at the hospital, even though I never said anything about it before. We're going to watch, just like I said, we're going to go quicker. So I have just one part of this one that I'm going to play, and it is at minute 54.
You know, if it do it, then give it a month and it'll be away. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just like, well, can I go use the bathroom again?
Right as he's squeezing you?
No, like,
he squeezed you?
He's probably standing there or whatever. He probably just standing there, and I'm just like, I need to use the bathroom again.
So he's probably doing this, or he's probably doing that, was the first thing that jumped out at me.
Do you say on this time on the squeeze, are you saying anything? Is he saying anything?
I'm really feeling weird. I'm just letting him do it.
Okay.
So, I'm kind of like, don't know what to do. So I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom just to be just doing something else. So he hooked me again, and he takes me to the restroom, and I come back in after I use the restroom or whatever. And by this time, I'm asking him to call my mama.
So he hooks you back up?
Huh?
When you go to the restroom, come back?
No. Because he pulled down his pants before I go to before or after? No. When after he touched on my breast or whatever. Yeah, I asked him to go to the restroom. I come back in, and then I don't know how we talked about it or whatever, but I know that his belt or whatever, like when he told me to touch it or put my hand on it, It was like I felt a little bump.
So you're back from the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the conversation you said,
I really don't remember how we was talking to make him. I know he said something about I will fuck the shit out of you, and he said
sorry about the language.
Me.
Is that his words?
Yes.
He said, I would fuck the shit out of you?
Yes. And he was like...
He said he would nut in you?
Yes.
And that's his words?
Yes. I promise to God, I hope God killed me right now if I'm lying. He told me that he would fuck the shit out of me and he would nut it.
Okay. Is it just me, or when somebody uses those words, I promise to God, this is the truth. Does that just make you not to not believe them at all? Anything that comes out of their mouth? Not at all. It's just, it feels like a lie is what I'm saying.
Me or something like that, but he was trying to tell me like that's what he would do, I guess, to see if that's what I want to do. But he was trying to say he was on the clock, but then he ended up doing it anyway.
Okay. That's what he says, but he says, I'm on the clock?
Yes.
Do you guys see the difference between this woman and that first one that I showed you, where she was shaky. She didn't want to she wanted to forget that it happened. She didn't want to talk about it. That's why I believe Terry, the first victim, I think something did happen to her. I don't think it was Holtzclaw, because obviously she described it as a black man. But I think somebody did assault that woman. This woman, not at all. And I was going to save this for part 2, but I'm going to play for you the very end of this one as well. First, I'm going to tell you, though, what makes this one fishy is, so this person, Shardaria, am I even saying that right? I feel bad for I don't really feel bad for mispronouncing this person's name. Shardarian. So Shardarian is doesn't have any other arrest record. She's never been arrested before, and she ends up at the hospital, and he's got to sit there with her at the hospital. And he's a good guy. It's hard to say a convicted rapist is a good guy, but this next part I'm going to tell you, I think, is because he's actually was trying to be a good cop. So this was in late December. So on January 8th of 2014, so a couple of weeks later, he sees her on Facebook and sends a friend request. Probably shouldn't have done that, Daniel. Probably shouldn't have done that. She accepts the friend request, by the way. He ends up stopping by her house one day while he's on duty to check on her, just to see, hey, how are you doing? Are you staying out of trouble? Like, is everything going okay? I think he's trying to steer her and don't deal not marijuana, PCP. Don't do that anymore. And then in February of 2014, he messages her and attempts to call her on Facebook several times. That's fishy. That's very fishy. Why are you doing that? But I want to keep in mind, she saw this news story about him getting arrested or whatever, and she's like, hey, that's the same cop that was sitting with me at the hospital that time, when I ate the PCP. At the very end of this interview, this did not come out in court, by the way, but I want you to listen to the last minute of this 2-hour police investigation interview.
Any lies, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Well, you've been pretty honest about stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you got any questions of me?
I don't know. Is that was the other girl situation, was they like mine?
Well, I can't necessarily go into that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you ever talked to anybody about their situations?
No, I don't know nobody else that he done that to or none of that.
Okay.
So this is good evidence?
Well, you tell me.
I think so, because y'all, even if he didn't even rape nobody or nothing, he's been in contact with people that he arrested.
She just said, is this good, as she's smiling, is this good evidence? Did I say everything correctly? Because even if he didn't rape anybody, he's still getting in contact with people who he's arrested. I'm going to play it one more time. It's just what had happened was apparently they got to the point where the interview was over. Every single person except for his defense team got to the end of the video where she starts to stand up and turns it off and didn't listen to this last part at all.
Hey, buddy.
Like, look, pay attention. I'm going to make it big. Watch her flippin' face. Watch her face when she's saying this stuff.
No,
About their situations.
No, I don't know nobody else that he done that to or none of that.
Okay.
So this is good evidence?
Well, you tell me.
I think so, because I mean, y'all, even if he didn't even rape nobody or nothing, he's been in contact with people that he arrested.
Well, was there ever a nurse who came into
So I don't know if you heard that last part, but the cop, as they're walking down the hall, says that, so not a nurse or anybody didn't come into the room or see anything? No. Nope. And she's giggling with joy, telling the story. It's crazy. It is doggo treat time. I forgot I have to do this. Ron Klotzer. Am I saying that right? Donated $2. I appreciate you so much, Ron. And the doggos definitely appreciate you. We have 3 of them in the room right now. Yeah, Ava's gone. But of course, the star of the show is Xena anyway, right? So Xena, let's tell Ron how much we appreciate him. Tell him. Do a shake. Do a high five. Oh, that's good. Do a touch. That's good. And come here. This one. Oh, we've got this one. Let's make. Sorry, Xena, you're not the star anymore. Leia is. Leia. There's Leia. Back up. There she is. That's for Leia. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. And we got one more. This one. Bam. Toto's here. This is actually Luke. We'll get a little ASMR from Luke. We'll give Luke one more. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. All right, hop down. Bam. Thank you. Get my stuff back the way it's supposed to be. Oh man. So tell me in the chat, what did you think of Shardaria's? I gotta look at it. Shardarian's. Tell me what you think of Shardarian's interview. Do you think that was real? What do you think? What do you suppose? If you had to just go off your gut reaction to Shardarian, what do you think happened there? Like, really, in a hospital? Like, anybody could walk in at any time. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're almost done, I promise. I told Mr. Zed that I'd be done by the time I got home. No, I wasn't. I think it might be because somebody derailed my show for like 15 minutes by being so very generous, and I appreciate you so much. You have no idea how much that helps. It helps so much. It's like you were the answer to a prayer is all I'm going to say, but I'll message you later about it. Where did I do with my notes? So after Shardarian Hill, we have Cyrita Bowen. So on May 21st, she actually knew the date, which is great. She was walking home alone near Northeast 16th and Highland. And she reported that Officer Holtzclaw pulled up next to her and started asking questions, including if she had anything on her. His words, "Do you have anything on you?" He took her, he offered her a ride. And it seems like he's offering a lot of people rides. I have to say, when I was a teenager one time, I ended up very far away, like miles away from my home. I probably wasn't even a teenager. Zena, what are we doing here? Sorry about that. I remember I was with a friend who number 2 knows. Initials GH. I'm not going to dox, but GH and I were miles away from where I lived at the time, and we had zero money to get on a bus or anything like that. And we saw an officer and we asked him for a ride, and he said, "No, I'm not a taxi." And we were like young teen, like we were like, it was night. It was scary, Anyway, so he offers her a ride. She accepts. He took her to an area. Instead of taking her home, he takes her to an area known as Dead Man's Curve. And while sitting in the back seat, he stood next to the open door and forced her to have oral sex with him. He then made her get out of the car and pull her pants down. Then he put her up against the car and vaginally raped her. So that is her story. Now, Regina Copeland. Do I not have Regina? I guess I don't. I have no tab for Regina, so I'll just tell you about her. Holtzclaw followed her home, parked in front of her driveway, and told her to get into his patrol car. He then made 3 right turns before pulling over, removing her from his patrol car, and vaginally raping her. Last victim, Adaria Gardner. At the time, Adaria was 17 years old, so very young. Now, I want you to keep in mind, because I had to Google this, the age of consent in Oklahoma in 2014, and I think still today, but when this happened, was 16. So she was of legal age. Now, I think a lot of you are having the same initial thought that I did. Like, even if this was consensual, what is a 27-year-old doing with a 17-year-old? There's different schools of thought on this. Like, my mom was 19 when she married my dad, and he was 29, so there was a 10-year age difference. This would be a 10-year age difference. She was 17, age of consent, 16, so of age. She was walking through her neighborhood with two of her friends, and her and the friends were arguing, so Holtzclaw pulled up to them, stopped them. At that time, Holtzclaw searched her purse. Now, in her purse was a hairbrush, makeup, stuff that would have her DNA on it. Let's just put it that way. So he searches her purse and then lets them go. Like, everything's fine, lets them go. Later that evening around dusk, Adaria was walking alone to her mom's house, and Holtzclaw stopped her again. She claims that she was raped for around 10 minutes by an Oklahoma City police officer. She doesn't name the names or whatever. When, at the beginning of this whole thing, 2.5 hours ago, I told you that they did a buccal swab on Holtzclaw. And they took his pants and his uniform shirt and all that stuff. Well, they did DNA tests on all of this stuff. Obviously, the buccal swab, that's what it's for. But on the zipper of his pants, they found a female DNA, an unknown male DNA, and Holtzclaw's DNA. We still to this day do not know who the male DNA was from. But what we do know is that Adaria Gardner's DNA was on the fly area of Holtzclaw's pants. It doesn't look good, right? What is happening next to me? Do you hear them? Chill. Thank you. We're going to get into the DNA evidence in next week's episode, but this is the case that I originally saw. And I was like, oh, this guy is totally guilty of raping a 17-year-old. Since then, this is a couple months ago, I've read all of the papers. I've read all of the police reports. I've done all of the things. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but I don't think so anymore, right? I think what happened is just like Daniel in the Bible, I think that Daniel Holtzclaw was thrown into the lion's den. I'm going to read you a little something here. I'll even put it on the screen. Real quick, I need to beat some dogs because they're, being a little noisy. I'm gonna mute for 1 second. Okay. In Daniel 6, Daniel was raised to high office by Royal Master Darius the Mede. My apologies for mispronouncing any of this stuff. You guys know I can't read, right? Daniel's jealous rivals tricked Darius into issuing a decree that for 30 days no prayers should be addressed to any god or man but Darius himself. Anyone who disobeys this edict is to be thrown to the lions. Pious Daniel continues to pray daily to the God of Israel, like the actual God, the king. Although deeply distressed, he must condemn Daniel to death, for the edicts of the Medes and Persians cannot be altered. Hoping for Daniel's deliverance, Darius has cast him to the pit of lions. At daybreak, the king hurries to the place and cries out anxiously, asking if God had saved his friend. Daniel replies that his God has sent an angel to close the jaws of the lions because I found blameless before him. The king commands that those who had conspired against Daniel will be thrown to the lions in his place, with their wives and children, and that the whole world should tremble and fear before God, the God of Daniel. I think that Daniel Holtzclaw was thrown into the lion's den. I think these people had it out for him, and I think that it was horrible what happened to him. Here's his verdict for these crimes that I just went over.
Versus Daniel K. Holtz, number CF 2014-5869. Verdict, count 1, sexual battery. We, the jury, impaneled and sworn in the above entitled cause, do upon our oaths find as follows. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and set punishment at 8 years. Count 2, procuring lewd exhibition. Not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 3, burglary in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree, nor lesser included. Count 4, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years. Count 5, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years. Count 6, defendant is not guilty of the crime of stalking. Count 7, defendant is not guilty of the crime of sexual battery. Count 8, defendant is guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy, and punishment is set at 20 years. Count 9, rape in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree. Count 10, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy and punishment is set at 16 years. Count 11, rape in the first degree. Defendant is guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree and punishment is set at 30 years. Count 12, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy. Count 13, sexual battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and punishment is set at 8 years. Count 14, sexual battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and punishment is set at 8 years. Count 15, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition and punishment is set at 5 years. Count 16, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy and punishment is set at 16 years. Count 17, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy. Count 18, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 19, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 20, rape in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree. Count 21, sexual battery. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of sexual battery. Count 22, sexual battery. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of sexual battery. Count 23, sexual battery. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of sexual battery. Count 24, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy. Count 25, rape in the second degree by instrumentation. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of rape in the second degree. Count 26, indecent exposure. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of indecent exposure. Count 27, forcible oral sodomy. Defendant is guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy and punishment is set at 16 years. Count 28, rape in the first degree. Defendant is guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree and punishment is set at 30 years. Count 29, rape in
Do you see Kim sitting at that desk grinning to herself with her dumb purse?
the first degree.
Well, meanwhile, Daniel over here in the background, his life is just collapsing around him.
Is guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree and punishment is set at 30 years. Count 30, sexual battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and punishment is set at 8 years. Count 31, rape in the second degree by instrumentation. Defendant is guilty of the crime of rape in the second degree and punishment is set at 12 years. Count 32, rape in the first degree. Defendant is guilty of the crime of rape in the first degree and punishment is set at 30 years. Count 33, sexual battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and punishment is set at 8 years. Count 34, sexual battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and punishment is set at 8 years. Count 35, defendant procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 36, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. So let me ask the jury, is this your verdict, so say you all?
Yes.
Counsel, would you like to examine the verdict forms?
Not statement. No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Holtzclaw, if you and your attorneys just come forward. Mr. Holtzclaw, this jury finds you guilty of the various counts. You will be remanded to the custody of the Oklahoma County Sheriff for formal sentencing set January 21st, 2016 at 10 o'clock a.m.
Your Honor, I'd ask
And we're going to go into that next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Overruled with Katie Z. Please, please, please keep in mind that I have 2 more things, and I'm going to play you a preview of what's going to happen. I didn't have it prepared, so let me get this up real quick. I want to play for you some of these women have recanted, so I'm going to play you a little clip from that. But first, I want you to know that if you go to katiez.com and go to the King collection, every single dollar of profit from any of the stuff in the King collection will go to onemorechild.org. They are Christ-based centered services for vulnerable children and families. They help feed families. They help house children. They help I want to pull this website up again because they are wonderful. Did I not have it? There it is. I'm like, it should come up because I've been on their website a lot. So what they do, every single penny of profit from the King collection, the Christ is King t-shirts, are going to help foster children. They help adoption services. They feed families. They help single moms as well as families, which is amazing. They want people to stay families. They're a wonderful organization, and if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, please just donate to them directly. I have a list of charities that I support personally in the description of my videos, in the channel description. If you don't want to do it this way and purchase one of these awesome t-shirts, I love these designs, by the way. If you don't want one of these t-shirts, that's fine. Just do good in the world and help them out, or any of the charities I have listed. Coming up next week, we're going to go over the evidence. We're going to go over the evidence, and here's just a small preview of that.
Just into our newsroom, a never-before-seen video involving the aftermath of the trial for fired and convicted Oklahoma City police officer Daniel Holtzclaw. Just 2 weeks ago, we brought you video showing one of his 13 accusers backtracking on her testimony. Tonight, video showing a different victim saying the trial was the first time she ever saw Holtzclaw. You may remember he was sentenced to 264 years in prison after a jury found him guilty of raping women while on patrol in northeast Oklahoma City. News 4's Austin Brissett is on the night feed.
The release of the video and the accompanying statement claims that OKC police railroaded Holtzclaw in their investigation into the allegations, but a statement from the district attorney says otherwise.
I have never seen him but before trial. That's when I finally seen who accused of raping me.
A statement supporters of Daniel Holtzclaw say should blow the lid off an entire Oklahoma City police investigation, saying this accuser's contradictory testimony, quote, exposes how OCPD railroaded Daniel by soliciting sexual assault allegations and pinning them on him.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Between 2013 and 2014, the then Oklahoma City officer was accused of raping and sexually assaulting 13 women while on patrol. In 2015, he was convicted on 18 felony counts and sentenced to 263 years in prison, 62 of those years based on the allegations of Sherry Ellis Smith alone.
It was a black man. Okay. He was in a black and white police car.
This video from 2014, Ellis Smith speaking to investigators describing her attacker as a short black man with a darker skin tone than her own.
How tall are you?
5'11".
I want to get a DNA sample from you today. And the reason I want to get a DNA sample is because I know what officer did this to you.
Holtzclaw's advocates pointing out that the now 35-year-old is a 6'1" Japanese-American man, saying, quote, detectives solicited and procured wrongful allegations specifically from at-risk black women. They also claim police never showed Ellis Smith a photo lineup. Now, during never-before-seen deposition video of Ella Smith, she admitted to never seeing Holtzclaw before until trial.
I have never seen him but before trial. That's when I finally seen who accused of raping me.
Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater responded to this release with a statement saying in part, quote, "Those issues were raised and were rejected by the jury after hearing sworn testimony and viewing exhibits during trial." We also reached out to Oklahoma City Police and they did not have any comment for us. Meanwhile, this comes off the heels of a previous video released a little over 2 weeks ago of a different Holtzclaw accuser who later claimed that he never touched her.
So that's what we have coming up next week. I started off this case, like I told you at the beginning of the show. I started off this case thinking, well, yeah, some of these seem kind of fishy, but I'm sure something happened, right? There was DNA. How could there not be? Since then, the reason why this episode took so long to put out is because I poured through the documents. Each case as if it was an individual case on its own. And you'll be shocked at what I found out when I actually read the reports, when I actually went through the documents, when I actually went through every one of these sometimes hours long police interviews with these women. It is shocking what Kim Davis and that other guy, I forget his name. He's forgettable. Rocky, I think his name was. Yeah, Rocky. Who, like Rocky, really? So, yeah, Kim and I want to make sure I have his name right. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's in these notes somewhere. But those, yeah, Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory are their names. What they did to this man, the way they fed these women information is, I was flabbergasted. The deeper I got, the more flabbergasted I felt. I hope you can join me next week, but I have a couple of announcements of what's coming up before that. So you're going to have to wait a whole week for the end of this, which I hate doing to you guys, but I'm going to have to because it's 7:40 right now and I haven't eaten all day. We're going to go through each case individually. I'm going to show you the evidence of why I think this man should not be in jail or in prison for a minute, let alone 264 years, I believe it was. 200 years. 200 years. He didn't kill anyone, and I don't think he sexually assaulted anybody either. Coming up on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Tuesday evening, I will have the wonderful Shane Quiros on, also known as North Georgia Audit. He's been on my show before. He's got some stuff going on with him right now, also regarding some very bad police officers. I've reached out to the police department that was involved in this case. They have not gotten back to me. Mr. Policeman, if you're watching right now, if you're spying on me, please email me back. Even just say no comment, something. I'd appreciate it. I'll probably try to email you again in between now and then. But 8 o'clock on Tuesday, Shane's going to be on to talk about his stuff. And then Friday Night Crime on Friday, coming up this Friday, 7:30, Friday night. We will see you then. I think we're going to do a game night on Saturday, too. We got a lot going on. So, Tuesday, 8 p.m. with Shane. Friday, 7:30 with number 2. We haven't talked about the time yet. Does 7:30 work for you? I appreciate that. Might Be Wrong says to do a FOIA request. We have the body cam. I just wanted to get their statement about what is on the body cam. I've seen the body cam in its entirety. It's a little crazy. They won't talk about it, though. What was I saying? Oh, Tuesday, 8, probably 7:30 was usually when we do it, I think, on Friday. And then Saturday game night, 8 p.m. And then Sunday, 4:30 Eastern time, the one true time zone, 4:30. We will finish this case up. I'm going to go through each one of these women's allegations and why it doesn't make sense. The whole thing doesn't make sense. I also am going to share with you, and I'll go back and put it in the comment section here if you're already convinced, but there's a petition online. I don't think the petitions do anything, but it doesn't hurt, right? I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. And a very special thank you to Waffle Salter for making not my day. You made my year right now. I've never been so overwhelmed with joy in my life. I will talk to all of you later. Bye, guys.